Hello and welcome to Adobe Live. My name is Carlos Andres. We're so happy that you're tuning in today. We are coming to you live from the San Francisco office, and we want to know where you're at. So drop a comment. Let us know where you're watching from. Let us know how your morning's going. We want to hear from you. We are here with the amazing Jorge Rodriguez.
Appreciate it.
The lead graphic designer from the Chargers. Big deal. And he's going to be walking us through some fun stuff today. So tell us, what are you doing?
Yeah, super stoked. So today we're going to be making 3 different graphics based off of a client brief. This is kind of replicate the cadence that I'll normally go through if I'm onboarding a client and I'm trying to figure out what the next steps are. So yeah, super stoked. But yeah, a little bit about me, graphic designer with the Chargers. But yeah, I've been doing freelance for close to 2 or 3 years now, part-time. Originally from Dallas, so you're going to see a lot of the Dallas and Texan come out in this stream today, so super stoked for that. But yeah, dude, ready to get started.
Let's do it. Shout out Texas.
Yeah, let's go. All right, so here's my screen. This is kind of going to be the roadmap for today. I have these blue boxes to block off information we don't need right now. But basically the problem here is when working with clients, we don't exactly know what they want. Sometimes they'll verbalize something and they might not have the design lingo to be able to articulate it correctly. So as a designer, that makes our job a little bit more difficult. So a skill that we're going to be learning today is basically looking at a brief, trying to take these words that might not mean a whole lot and then make them into actionable design steps.
Nice.
So we're going to go ahead and look at this brief. I'll remove this. So here's the brief, okay? Hi, Jorge. We're looking to develop a graphic set announcing the launch of our new soccer club, the Dallas Bandits. We'd like to explore the following creative directions across 3 distinct design systems. Design 1, modern, sleek, impactful. Design 2, gritty, textured, branded. Design 3, bold, experimental, unconventional, trippy, ? And we're aiming to review initial directions with the team by end of day. Looking forward to seeing your interpretation for each approach. Darn tootin' buck tumbleweed McGee.
Let's go.
So this is our brief. And so normally briefs are a little bit longer, a little bit more detailed, but this kind of gets to the nitty gritty of what we're going to be trying to do and what a typical brief sort of looks like. So we're going to be starting with design 1 today in this first stream. So when I look at this brief, right, modern, sleek, and impactful, those are words that are pretty, they're thrown around. And, if you're, seeing stuff on your social media page as someone who's looking to hire design work, you're like, oh, that's a modern piece. Like, oh, that's pretty cool. But what does that mean in design terms? Mm-hmm. So we have a little bit of a translation guide over here.
Nice. And for anybody who's wondering what program you're in, we are in Adobe Firefly, which is a very powerful tool. Shout out Adobe Firefly.
It's awesome. And we talked about this on our podcast yesterday about how powerful it is. And, it's one of those tools where I'm always like a little bit selective about what tools I'm bringing into my workflow. But this has been a super helpful way to kind of organize ideas for me. And one of the great things about this is that you're able to share these boards with other people you're working with. So, I've made boards where I will send to a client and be like, hey, like this is the inspiration I'm thinking for this project. Leave like notes and feedback here, and then I'll reference it with them later. And so it just kind of keeps the the back and forth and the feedback loops kind of limited, and you kind of get to the point a lot quicker. So here we're looking at the translation, right? So modern, sleek, impactful, right? So as a designer, I see those words, and the first things that come to mind are minimal layout, use gradients, keep player the focus. For me, gradients are a huge part of the work that I do. I love it. I think it's a super cool way to make your graphics pop a little bit more and not kind of blend into the background. I think for a lot of us social media designers, we're always trying to find different ways to make our graphics stand out. I think gradients are a great way. So, that's how I translate, the modern, sleek, impactful. I'm thinking of gradients. I'm thinking about making the player, kind of enhance the lighting and shadows. That's kind of what's going through my mind. And so we'll talk more about design 2 and design 3 later. Mm-hmm. If you want to get a jump start in our stream later, you can take a peek here. But basically, that's what I'm doing as a designer, taking this brief and starting to move forward with the graphic. And then finally, we have a little bit of our inspiration here. So like I said, the modern, sleek, impactful gradient, we're seeing it here. And then I kind of just source these from Adobe Stock to kind of get an idea of like possible layouts that I would be interested in. So, we have some here, obviously very soccer themed, with the tournament going on.
Big tournament.
So we're kind of just keeping with that theme for this stream. So yeah, if you want to get too far ahead, look at design 2, design 3, kind of, start stewing on what we might be working on a little bit later in that second stream. But right now, I'm ready to hop into Photoshop and start making this first graphic set. So let me hop in here, new file, 4x5. Cool. So another thing with these types of projects is normally when you're working with a client, they'll give you a list of items or a list of design assets. So for me, what I like to do is, first things first, like I try to get everything that I can into an Adobe library. So you can see that here on this side of my screen. It's such a helpful tool. I like not having to go back to my Finder and find all my assets, drag them and drop them. This kind of streamlines the process for me, so it makes it a lot easier to get designs done quickly. So we kind of already have some things preloaded in here. We have these color palettes. We have some logos in here that aren't showing up. We have these secondary marks and all that. But to kind of give a top-down view, let's take a look at this.
Nice.
This Illustrator file. So
prepped, bro.
This all started with this logo. This was a stock exclusive. And I saw it, I was like, dude, Bandits, like Dallas Bandits, this is sick. So we basically took that logo and tried to build out a set of items, for the stream to be able to work with. So one of the things that I like to do is I'm not very Illustrator savvy. We have people on our design team at the Chargers that are like, that is their forte. So I lean on them very heavily for that. But my best way of going about projects like this, if you're more of a Photoshop designer, is taking one asset like this and trying to see how many ways you can remix it into a graphic. So like I said, we just started with this, and so when I'm looking at this, I'm thinking, okay, there's a lot of different elements in this logo that we can make further design elements of. So I was trying to think of how many different ways can we make this logo. So took out the word mark here. We have our standalone, then we have a silhouette version of our graphic, which we'll use in this graphic. We have a stroked outline, a one color white, one color black, and then another one color here for white as well. So that was the jumping off point. I pulled the color palette we're using here from this logo. And obviously, we're trying to pretend like this is a client brief, but I always feel like it's important to see, how to build out further assets from, maybe not a lot of initial guidance from a client. So we're also building out these secondary marks here. I took this, like, I don't know what it is, like kind of like this ambiguous amorphous mascot piece here. I basically just dragged it from the main logo. It's not selecting, but you guys kind of get the point there. But I was kind of thinking, if we're gonna do things that are sleek, if we're gonna be doing things that are trippy, it kind of pays to have a little bit more unique shapes in your design toolkit. So I was basically just taking things from this bandana and using them as elements to pepper throughout our little graphic set here. Obviously remove the bandits. Little word mark is always a good thing. And then brand tags have been another thing with the design community that I've seen. The Chargers, we make a big deal about our brand tags. I think they're a really great way to build some visibility and kind of, inform your audience a little bit more about not just the players, but kind of your motifs, your slogans, different marks that they'll see throughout different creative assets. Here was like my best attempt at coming up with a few of these.
Are these your ideas, like the taglines are yours?
Yeah. I was trying to get like a little bit creative, but yeah, with the bandits, I was thinking let's lean into that a little bit. But shout out, Dallas, the 214, got the 214 right here, and 75205 is my area code, so that's where I'm from originally. But yeah, that was kind of the first thought in building out these brand tags. And then I also got these from Adobe stock as well. I take zero credit for these, but I like them. I thought they were like a neat little illustrative little wrinkle to what we're doing. So got our fonts here, and that should cover that. But I wanted to kind of give like a top-down view of the actual creative suite that we built out for these and how they'll inform future pieces. Okay, so that's enough of that. Let's get into designing. So we have our blank canvas here. I'm gonna make it an artboard real quick. New artboard. I'm an artboard enthusiast, always love them. We're gonna be building out everything on this one file so we can kind of compare and contrast. But yeah, like we said, sleek gradients is like a big theme here. So my thought is with our colors here, I'm really leaning towards that black, that red, and that orange. So, if we look back to our inspiration here, this is sort of what I'm thinking for the gradient here. I think, with the way that a client will come to you, they'll want that sleek type of style. This is sort of the first thing that pops into my head. And so let's go ahead and make this. I'll go ahead and have a fill layer here. Let's go all black. And then for a gradient, some people use the gradient tool to kind of like drag and drop and, whatever. I like to have a little bit more like freedom, so I like to just draw it in. It's a little bit like, I guess, old fashioned, I guess, but we're not in a rush. We're going to enjoy our time here designing. So going to extend that out here.
And for those who are wondering, that's just like with a brush, right?
Yeah.
The soft brush.
Yeah, we got a soft brush here. Let's see the settings on it. We got, 1700, 0% hardness, just standard brush here. And that's normally what I'll do for my brush settings. I mean, we'll go through like the lighting and shadows here in a little bit. But then I just duplicated this. I'm just going to color overlay. And I'm going to just select this orange as well. I'm going to select here. And cool.
Nice.
Look at that. We already got our little gradient. I'm going to extend it a little bit out. Cool. And so for me, I look at a background like that. Like, we're already well on our way.
Yeah, we're cooking.
So big shout out to Adobe Stock. I mean, they absolutely cooked with the image selection here. I'm super excited to actually show you guys what I found. So we have our design assets here, and we have our player photos. And I saw all these, and I was actually shocked, like how like one-to-one they are with the types of studio shots that we use with the chargers, and they look, very professional, very like, a lot of action and all that kind of stuff. But I look at these photos, and I think photo selection is such an important part of the type of work that we do. A lot of times you'll get a client and they'll say, we want something really impactful. We want something that's has a lot of energy. And the translation for that for me is, okay, we want someone that's in motion, that's interacting with a ball or a player, that's expressive, emotive. And so these photos actually fit that to a T. Maybe not this one, but this yelling one was great.
Oh, yeah.
This fist pump was awesome. This one's like a little bit like GQ, so I don't know if we're gonna end up using this, but I really liked this image set. So first things first, I think selecting out of these two, which one do you want to work with?
Let's do this one. I like
this one right here?
No, that one.
Okay, cool.
I don't know why. That one's talking to me.
Let's do it. So we'll drag it and drop it here.
Nice.
And then we'll kind of size it to the center of our canvas. And then I'll go ahead and do the our magic wand here just to kind of speed things up. Normally, you'll do the magic wand and then you'll just like that. Like you select a layer mask. So I know some people like do the pencil, whatever. So just to do it again, we got selecting the background. I'll hit select subject at the top of our screen. I'll hit this layer mask button here where it's that box with that little circle in the middle. And then just like that, it's cut out.
A great mask.
So I'll just go through just to make sure that there's no weird aliasing. It looks pretty good here. Maybe there's a little bit of an issue here. So I'll just go ahead and take this white brush. I'll make it like 110, something like that. I'll just color this back in, and then I'll go through pen tool, and then the shortcut for that is P, and then I'll just cut it out again from my end just to make sure that we're having some good cutouts here.
Nice.
It's always pays to have a good cutout, because whenever you're doing the lighting, shadows, I use a lot of what I call rim lights in my types of graphics, so we'll talk about that in a little bit. But basically, I'll go through the entire photo. I'll take a little brush and I'll just paint the edges of the player as to kind of replicate where the light would be coming from if there was like a light behind him or on the side, or just where any key light would normally be. So it's always good to have these clean cuts here.
And we have one good question. Is there a way to make your file auto open with artboards? I work the same way and would love to have it on auto.
That's a good question.
There might be.
I work with this. That is something that I'm gonna have to get back to you on. I would also love to know the answer to that. But we'll try to figure that out, and then part 2 of the stream, hopefully we'll come back with an answer.
We'll find out.
Yeah. So still cleaning up this piece here. Kind of boring, but it's one of those things where you definitely notice the issues will trickle on later if you have some aliasing, or if you have some parts of the player's jersey that are cut out in funky ways. We see a little bit here. It's not the biggest deal. just a little bit of quality control before we get started is always good.
Yeah.
And so the interesting thing about these photos too, which I really liked, was that you can kind of see this like little blue tinge like around the player. So normally, with a studio set of graphics, you'll get photos that have very either flat white type of light hitting the player, or it's a dynamic light, but it's not colored like this is here. So this makes our job a little bit easier because this already kind of gives a little bit of this like sports graphic, very impactful type of look to our player without us having to do that in Photoshop. So I'll give credit to the photographer here because this is a really nice thing to have. It definitely already makes it feel a little bit more elevated because doing this on your own time does, take a little bit of time. But yeah, no, I think this is a good place to start.
Nice.
So after we do this, I have a shortcut for this, but I make everything a smart object. So for me, that's Option Command C. So that makes it a smart object. But you can instead go here, 2-finger click your layer, and then hit new. Convert to smart object. There it is. You click that, you get the same thing. For those of you that are new to Photoshop, smart objects are great because they make sure that everything you do to your layer is not destructive. So you can go back and edit it later, which for me, is always good to have. I never like to do anything that I can't undo in Photoshop because that is like the worst thing in the world, especially, in that freelance setting where, the client's gonna come back to you, they're gonna have feedback on something. And if it's something that you can't reverse, like a layer style or like camera raw, you're kind of out of luck there. So just gonna organize this layer as well for our background. And then the first thing I'll do, we did our background already, we have our player cut out, and then I'm gonna hit camera raw. So for me, this is where, I've said before, that's where 80% of what I call player treatment is done. So player treatment basically is, how to make a player feel cinematic in your graphic. Because like we said, we oftentimes are, given photos where, it's a flat white background, maybe the player doesn't have a lot of energy, but we're wanting to put them in this, really cool lighting space in our graphic, but, we're trying to bridge the gap between like that regular standard photo and our really dynamic type of piece. So camera raw is where that's done. So like I said, a lot of the lighting already exists here. For me, I think one of the biggest things is trying to let's reference back our board here where we said modern, sleek, impactful. So we also said our translation is keep player the focus. So when I am in camera raw, the ways that I kind of do that are by upping the exposure to kind of make sure the player still stands out from the background, especially because he's wearing an orange jersey. He already kind of melts into the background a little bit. We don't really want that. So upping the exposure here, just a little bit, contrast up a little bit, highlights up. Shadows I always kind of like to bring up just a little bit, just because it's easier to paint in the lighting and shadows when you can kind of see where all of them exist. Like in this photo, you can kind of see like, underneath his chin, there's a lot of shadows, like on the side of his face, a lot of shadows, but upping the shadows a little bit kind of, kind of like flattens it a little bit where you can paint in and kind of exacerbate what already exists, but still with the roadmap that exists in the player. Let's drop down the whites a little bit, drop down the blacks, kind of give it a little bit more contrast. And I've said in different streams before, this camera raw is extremely trial and error. There's no tried and true. Every photo is different. Obviously, the photos we'll be working with today are all from the same photographer, the same shoot, the same lighting. But throughout the course of an NFL season, or if you're given a bunch of photos from a client, you're going to get a bunch of different lighting conditions, and that's one of those things that there's really no shortcut for it. It's kind of a feel thing. But thankfully, this is a very controlled lighting space, and we're just going to be seeing what looks good, what doesn't. So this is this is after, this is before, and we're just going to turn the mess a little bit more, kind of like a little bit of that blue.
And Jess, I believe that's Jess OnlyFonts. We will get on it with the developers. I sent them a DM already.
We're just already grinding. Love it.
Already grinding.
Okay, we got texture clarity. I've been quoted saying before that this is the LeBron D. Wade of color correction. I very much mean that. I think they're like the two biggest tools when it comes to making a player graphic look like almost like give you that hero feel. I know like my style was developed to like really lean into that like texture clarity, and then also having like those sleek backgrounds in the back. So I'll always kind of bump this up. I think the photo itself is already pretty strong. So yeah, just a note whenever you're making your camera raw adjustments on a player graphic, that's something to always consider.
W.
And then curves. I'd be lying if I said I was a master with curves. I always kind of try to get a little bit of an S curve here. I've always found it gives pretty solid results, but I'm just guessing, to be honest here. With a lot of the camera raw,
does it not?
Yeah, it's just one of those things that it's a feel thing. But yeah, so going to adjust the color mixer a little bit here. This is also like that second tool in Camera Raw that I think is super important. I think you can get so much done with this texture and clarity slider here, and then this color mixer. Just because you have your background, and like we said, the photos were great, so they already kind of have those orange hues, kind of the blue that we have as our tertiary color. They already have that built into the photo, but oftentimes they don't. So if you're trying to match a player's skin to the background, or try to match the reflections on their jersey to the background, this is the tool you use to actually be able to do that. So like we said, basically all the colors and our gradients exist in this jersey. So that's one of those things that quietly helps your graphic feel a little bit more professional, because you'll, all the colors are sort of working together here, which is a great thing that makes the graphic look very complete, looks very professional. So I always kind of like to key into that with the work that I do. But going to just look a little bit at these colors here. The orange slider normally messes with the skin, and because our player has an orange jersey, it will mess with that too. Kind of bring up the saturation or the luminance. And then I don't think there's any yellow, maybe up here. And it kind of looks a little bit green, so I'm gonna bring this down as well, because here's where it was before. It's very hot on the shoulder here, and it kind of looks like a little bit like overblown. You don't really want that. So if you key it down a little bit, you kind of get the jersey
color
back where it should be. I'll bump the yellow here because we got a little bit of yellow in our background. So that's looking pretty good. Green, no green in here. We do have our pants that are blue. And so like we said, the tertiary color we have is like this really weird sort of like cyan color here. So, another place to kind of insert this in our photo is in the pants. So you can kind of see here, there's a little bit of a hit of like cyan light already. So hopefully we can kind of elevate that a little bit in our graphic here. Don't want to do it too much, but want to make sure like we're using our brand colors into our color treatment wherever we can. So we can go back and forth. You can see it a little bit more here.
Wow.
And then I think that you can add a little bit more of a hit there. But I think that should kind of get us in a good spot with the color treatment. We have our before here where it's, the lighting is a little bit flat on the face, to the after. So nice. Really bright light on the side here, looks cinematic. Jersey looks complete, colors match the background, and we got a little bit of that hit of cyan here as well. So for me, I would be, really more than happy with the player treatment here. I'll hit OK, and then we can kind of just see it makes our player look a little bit more cinematic, a little bit more of a hero image, and referencing back our client's request of making the player feel like they're the hero in the shot. I think we're starting to get there here. So when I do player treatment, Camera Raw, like I said, is 80% of it, but the other 20% is kind of our painted in lighting and shadows. So for me, I've done this before, but for those of you that are new, I make 2 layers, right? I'll name one B and one W. I'll put them both on overlay blend modes here. And then I'll, that should be good to go. So what the B stands for is black, and what the W stands for is white. And so for the black, I'll take a brush here. I'll make sure the color selected is black. And actually, we'll do one more thing. We were not going to use a flat black. We're actually going to use this navy of our brand guide. It's a light thing, it's a small thing, but any way that you're able to incorporate your brand colors into your player treatment, I think is always a great step. So instead of using flat black, we're using this like darker navy. Like I said, at overlay blend mode. We're going to drop the opacity down to 20%. And we're basically just going to paint in the lighting and shadows. And so this is one of those things that you can spend a lot of time on it, you can spend little time on it. Our Camera Raw did a lot of the work in kind of leaning into where the shadows are already existing, but it always pays to make sure that you're going the extra mile with your client and trying to make sure it looks even more cinematic. So when I look at this, you kind of think of more like a body composition of where the light is hitting the body. So that's what I think about here. So if you like extend your arms out, which I'm doing right here, and we have a studio light that's hitting my arm directly here, there's a lot of shadow underneath my arm. Hopefully you can see that on screen.
Mm-hmm.
So that's my thought when I'm doing this. And so that exists for the legs, the arms, underneath the neck, basically any place where light is not being hit directly, you want to make a little bit darker. So we have our black layer here, pseudo black layer, and then I'm just going to go through and I'm just going to start painting in where these shadows would normally exist. So this is one of those things that does take a little bit of time, but I think it's always worth it. So I'm just looking at our piece and trying to figure out where these shadows already exist. We see it, like I said, underneath the chin here, so I'm going to paint that a little bit. I'm going to paint here on the side of the nose, underneath the nose, kind of get here in the, I guess, the little like furrow in someone's like corner of their eye. Sometimes it might be a little bit too much, and we might toggle the layer on and off, and you might not see a big difference. But I always like to do this because it gives it that, like we said, the 20% extra of feeling cinematic. So just testing it out here, dropping some shadows here as well. We got here underneath the palms, quick on the side of the leg. Obviously, if someone's leg is in front of the other, you kind of want to make it seem like there is at least a little bit of distance between them. So right. you'll kind of hit a shadow here as well. And then right here through the middle of the leg, because we see this direct hit of light coming up, and this is like from our studio shot. So what you can do to make use of this, and we'll see if we have time to do it in the stream, but you could also have, instead of this yellow gradient, we could do actually a hit of blue. So let me just take a look at this here. I think this is our yellow. Yeah, this is our yellow layer. Let me just take a look and try this instead. So I don't know if we'll keep it, but this is something you can do instead where, the light is already existing on the photo that we made. So it kind of just does make sense to make the background blue as well, because it feels more natural.
Yeah.
You can't do it. You can't do it. It's up to you. I think for this graphic, we're going to stick with the yellow, and we can maybe adjust the shadows, the rim light here to be yellow later. But yeah, we're still painting in this darker shadow here. Oh, wrong layer. Let's get the right color. And so just painting it in on the cleat here.
It's looking so good.
Yeah, we're trying to think about, it's a silly thing, but you're really trying to imagine, if this player was right in front of you, where the light would be hitting.
Right.
And I've never done this, but I've always kind of wanted to. I know that some like artists and stuff, they'll have like this wooden like minifigure or whatever that they'll place down, and they'll kind of orient it in different poses, and then kind of use that as a way to figure out how the body would move as they paint. I think in a similar way, doing something like that with like a little key light or something, like a mini setup that kind of gives you a little bit of an idea how the light interacts with the player would make your graphic look a little bit more legit, and not keep you guessing like where the shadows could be or would be.
Right.
It's something I've been toying with. I kind of want to do it eventually, but
if you need, I could jump up.
Yeah,
right now.
There you go.
So multiple times.
I'm down for it. But cool. So I think we're in a good spot with the darker part of our shadows here, and then we're gonna go into the opposite with our white, and so we'll use this white color here to do that as well. So same process, just with the lighter parts of the jersey and the lighter parts of the face. So when I'm doing that, I'm obviously going to be hitting the cheekbones because that's normally where the light will always hit. So I'll make sure to do that here. You already kind of see there's a little bit of a light hit on his forehead, so I'm gonna kind of accentuate that as well. And I think the top of the jersey is always good to hit, the top of the arms, sides of the jersey. And we've said this in different streams, but I do think it's worth mentioning again that, the best type of player treatment work is done when you're not totally reinventing the lighting pattern on someone's jersey. Because oftentimes we'll get a photo and we'll want to fit it into a scene, and sometimes it's like fitting like a square peg into a round hole. Like it's a great photo, but the background doesn't do its best job in making the photo feel like it belongs there.
Right.
So we're looking at something like this. There's already so much dynamic lighting in the photo already. We're kind of just doing our job to make it look just a little bit better, a little bit more dynamic. And so that's just going where all the hits of light are and just, giving it basically like a once over. There's probably easier ways to do this, but I find it like a little bit therapeutic just to like go through. You know, when you got your headphones on, you're listening to some good music, you know, you get in the zone. It's something that you kind of learn to enjoy. So, you know, I'm looking at this and like we said, equally with the leg in the background where you put a shadow, we have this leg extending out. So that'll often be hit with another pass of light. So we're gonna do our job here and kind of hit that one more time. And, you know, after a while, you do kind of get a sense of, you know, where the lighting should go. You know, it might feel like a little bit overwhelming at first. So I don't know where to put the shadows. I don't know where to put the lighting. But you'll see it. You'll get the hang of it. You know, I think at first, like I said, you know, would recommend anybody to just look at the photo, kind of see where the light's hitting, and do your best job to make it look a little bit more exaggerated. So again, top of the calf here, go with another pass of light, side here, another pass. Cool. So I think the treatment is basically done. So, you know, if you want, I've said before, you can do this gradient map sort of situation. I have a bunch here. These are all presets, and these are done through maybe 2 or 3 years of design work. Normally what this will do is you'll select a color, right? So for me, I like to make sure that the skin tones of our player is really even. So, you know, for like a game day, for example, you'll get photos where, you know, it might be a night game or it might be a day game, and there might be a lot of contrast on the face. Sometimes you get like weird aliasing or weird color hits on the face. So, for example, you'll pull a photo from online. You'll look at the player's photo, and then you'll kind of see like pink underneath the nose, or like kind of like rosacea on the skin. You know, for graphics and stuff, it can kind of take away from the treatment. So that's kind of the point of gradient maps, is bringing them into your workflow and evening out the skin. So, you know, we'll pick this one here. You know, and if you want, I'll go through a few of these for our designers at home. If you want to take a screenshot of the colors that I'm using here and kind of the layout of the gradient, you can pull from there. For me, it's a little bit of a trial and error. Normally, I'll find a photo that I really like that's been treated by a photographer. I'll drop it into Photoshop, and then I'll use the like little eyedrop tool here to pull. Oh, where's it at? Maybe I'm lying. Maybe I don't do that. I don't have the tool up here. But I'll pull the individual colors of the skin gradient that they used and kind of incorporate that into my work. So that's a little bit of that. But, you know, these two are the ones I use the most. I think I've got a few here, just adjusting for different lighting. Sometimes I reverse them, sometimes I forget the best way to do them. But we'll stick with this one. You know, we'll see. I'll clip it to our layer here, and for me, that is Command Option G. I think you can use Alt Drag to do the same thing. But one of the cool things about Photoshop, and this is a newer little thing, is this object selection tool. So I'll go back to our player cutout here, and you know, we only want it to be on the skin. So it's hard to select like the entire body that's not the jersey, but you can select the jersey easy. You can select the pants easy, as well as the socks. Oh, that maybe didn't get all that, but let's just do that. So we selected everything that we want to remain its normal color. And we got it here. Oops, that's an accent. Command I for the layer mask. It kind of clips on to the rest of the player. So I'll also make this a color blend mode, makes it like a little bit less drastic, and I'll normally drop it down to maybe like 50%. So this is something you can do to kind of, you know, make your player feel like a little bit more like staged and cinematic. Like here it's very bright, it's very stark. I like that, but I think it may be too much, and maybe like detracts a little bit from the piece we're trying to make as a whole. You know, just for the sake of time, I won't like go through and make it, you know, pretty. I'll take it out here, but really just to show, you know, the color treatment and then the black and white layers on overlay blend mode. They do an incredible job with your player treatment. But we have our graphic, and we got to remember our client wants these graphics end of day. So we're going to try to find different ways to incorporate our design elements here. So I'm going to make this a layer for our player here. And if you were a keen listener, you would have noticed that I said that we're going to be using our silhouette of our logo here in this graphic. So let's go back to our libraries and see. I see they're not loading here, but let me just drag it. There you go. They're hidden from me. Can't be that easy. Yeah. So we have our silhouette background here. I'm going to drop it in the back. So when I make a graphic like this, you we want to find different ways to incorporate the brand elements, like we had mentioned. But we want to do it in a subtle way. Remember, we said modern and sleek. We don't want to be too on the nose and be like, you know what, like we got to put this our main like Bandits logo everywhere. We want to make sure it's very visible. Whatever. There's a time and place for that. I think for something that's sleek and modern, this is normally how we would do it. So I have this logo silhouette in the background. There's ways to make it really subtle. So what I'm going to do here is, if you remember, we have our little background layers here. I'm going to duplicate this. So this will be Command J. I'm going to Smart Object it. So for me, that's Option Command C. And then we have an extra version of our background. So one of the cool sort of effects, it's very simple but very modern, let's say, is bring it above our logo silhouette, and then I'll Command Option G there. I'll flip it, and then you can slowly see the logo start to appear subtly in the background. And this is one of those things you can adjust. So let's kind of make it a little bit more contrasty here.
Bro, this is so cool.
So you can already kind of see the logo a little bit, and that's what we want. The silhouette is pretty, I wouldn't say iconic because it's a made-up team, but it's pretty noticeable, and hopefully the client would be like, oh, we recognize that this is our logo. So I'll make this, I'll make it a layer, and I'll just do logo gradient. And then to kind of elevate it a little bit more, I think a cool sort of style is I'll duplicate it again. So for me, Command J, Smart Object again, Command Option C, and we'll bring the logo gradient above our player. And so what I'm going to do here is I'm going to kind of work with the blend modes and kind of see if there's any way to make it feel like it's going in front of the player. So we can kind of see it's doing it a little bit towards the top. So I'm going to maybe stick with lighten here. I'm going to make a layer mask, and then I'm just going to Command I and invert it. So I'll take a brush, and we're going to just see where we can insert it that might make it look a little bit cooler. So, we have our white brush. Let's kind of up the opacity to, let's say, 40. I'll just type it in. It'd be easier. Make our brush a little bit bigger, and let's just see where we can paint it in to kind of make the player look like he's like popping out of the logo, or at least like immersed in it.
Yeah.
So, we have a little bit of our light hits here. We're just painting it in where we feel like it might be a good addition. And it's nothing crazy. It's just one of those things that, we want it to feel immersive, want it to feel sleek. We don't want the player to feel like he's just on top of logos just because we can. So we're incorporating it a little bit here. I'll leave it like this for now. To the upper.
Let's check in on chat real quick.
Yeah.
We got someone that said Jorge Picasso.
Oh my gosh.
Big compliment.
I love that.
And then someone, Kane from Behance, says they love sports, and this is an awesome treat to start the day.
I love that. Yeah, no, thanks for hopping in with us, guys.
Yeah.
I was super stoked for this lesson plan. And like I said, Dallas guy. So any way I can find a way to incorporate that into my work, share it with the world, I'm happy to do so.
Shout out Dallas.
So because of Dallas, like we said earlier, we have some logo marks that we want to incorporate here. This still wins, leave no trace was something we talked about earlier. I'll drag it and drop it here and just try to find a good way to incorporate that into the graphic. I think here looks all right. I think I'll lock this layer so I'm not messing with it. Yeah, I think we'll make it a little bit small, drop it in here. And then I'll make it white, so I'll do color overlay here. And then I'll select our white from here as well. And so starting to find ways to incorporate those design elements that we had worked so hard to make earlier. Again, this is a fictitious brand. And so normally a client will have a little bit more of a chance to tell you what they want incorporated into a graphic or not. So this is one of those logo marks that we're going to put in. And yeah, like we said, we got all these logos here. So we have this Bandits word mark. Let's see if we can find a cool place to put it. It's very, very slanted. That was not by design. That was our lovely Adobe stock individuals. But I think it makes it a little bit more dynamic. But I think we already have a lot going on in our piece. We're just going to try to, use this as like a framing device, a framing element. So let's try to put it here. And then I like that. I think our player might be a little bit small. So let's kind of adjust the proportions of some of these things here. Bigger.
What is up, Lynn? Lynn C.
What up,
Welcome
Lynn
to the
C?
chat. Today's topic is all about sports. So we're here with Jorge Rodriguez. He is the lead designer at the Chargers, and we're going to be talking about sports for 3 or 4 streams today. So
Yeah.
stay tuned.
No, love it. Super stoked. Cool. So we're in a good spot here. We have a little bit of time, so I'm going to go ahead and try to work on some different things that you can also kind of do to elevate your graphics. So we always mention that the foot shadows are an extremely important part of player treatment, making a player feel grounded in the environment they're in. I think that it's always an easy way to tell someone's like design ability is how they can do their foot shadows. It sounds like a silly thing, but it's something that, like, you know, it's a weird thing to like geek out on, but like I definitely geek out if I see someone's like foot shadows look like really good, or like, man, like this is like they like perspective warped it, but like in a really unique way. But basically just finding different ways to make the player look a little bit more engaged with the background. So let's go ahead and group these foreground elements. So I'll do FG elements.
There are levels to this, man. This is awesome.
Yeah, no, I love doing it. You know, it's one of those things that, you know, you always try to find the time to practice the treatment and stuff like that. You know, we mentioned on our stream yesterday, you know, I think one of the best ways to do it is just look at creators that you really like. For me, I was really partial to like Jamal Clay. I think he was a designer with TNT right now. A lot of his graphics were like very minimal, very gritty. I think our second graphic today will kind of, you know, align more closely to that. But, you know, you look at these individuals, you look at how they do their player treatment, and it kind of gives you a benchmark for how things should look.
Right.
And it's a really easy way to kind of chip away and get better and better at the type of work that you're doing, which is awesome. So cool. We're going to hit our foot shadows here. So I think one of the things that I see a lot of designers do is they'll take this soft brush, they'll kind of flatten it, smush it here, and let's select our darker kind of navy, and they'll just plop it. Let me up the opacity. They'll plop it underneath the foot, right? So you look at that, you know, you back it out, and you see, man, like that doesn't look that great, or it looks, you know, like we could do a little bit more work. So one of the things that I like to do is I'll adjust the hardness on our brush for the shadows. I think if you look at some other designers that do this really well, you can see that it's not like a 0% hardness brush. They kind of add like a little bit of more like, I guess, substance to it. And you do that by adjusting the hardness to be like a little bit higher. And then also what I'll do is I will zoom in, I'll hit it. So it kind of gives it a little bit more substance versus the flat brush shadow. And then we'll do a little bit of perspective work here. So I'm kind of almost making it seem like if you follow the marquee tool all the way around, it kind of looks like almost like a floor if you're looking down at it, and the perspective that it follows. So similarly, we're trying to put that into our graphic. So if you were to imagine like a fake floor at the bottom of our graphic, that is kind of the shape that it would follow, this little marquee box. So we're wanting to kind of keep that like in mind as we're doing shadows, just to make it look a little bit more realistic. So I'm going to shrink this a little bit.
Shout out Dave. Welcome to the chat.
Dave.
It's my
what's
buddy
up?
from California. Great designer.
Love
You're
it,
too
love it.
kind.
Cool. So, and that's also really harsh. So I'm going to lower the opacity a little bit. Maybe I might have did it a little bit too much with the hardness.
My head, huh?
But, oh yeah, I'll move it. There you go.
There you go. Look, I'll hold them up.
And then I'll do this. I don't know why it's clipped in. We don't want that. And then I'll take it here, and then I'll kind of adjust the opacity a little bit more. Kind of make it feel like it's a little bit more underneath the actual part of the foot. So this looks a little bit too harsh. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to go to our blur, Gaussian blur, and then I'm just going to try to adjust to kind of what I like, which I think would be closer to here. I'll do the same thing with this to kind of make it feel like a little bit less harsh. Kept the same settings. And so we're getting closer and closer here. But also one of those things with a graphic like this is trying to make sure that if it is going to be on the ground or the player is going to look like it's running, to maybe use some curves layers. So what I'll do here is we can see our curves layer here. And this is one of those things where, this was like a newer addition to my Photoshop toolkit. It's one of those things that like it does, I still don't really understand it all the way. But kind of the method that I use is to lower the little bottom, I guess, quartile here, and then lower this top piece. So it makes the shadow not look so harsh and so contrasty, but it gives you a little bit of a way to make the player feel like he's appearing above the ground. So we have it clipped here. I'm gonna go ahead and use our black brush to kind of paint away the light that exists and kind of just make it feel like it's just appearing on the bottom half of the player where it would normally appear if he was running. So wanted to make sure that I'm not messing with too much of the lighting we already worked on. But yeah, you can kind of see the before and after where it kind of just feels like, he's appearing above the ground. But yeah, I think that kind of does a good job. If you want to mess with the blend modes, those are always something to take a look at. So, maybe hard light, we'll see. But this is something that, obviously with some more time and some more client back and forth, you could kind of get really keyed in. If we can find different ways to incorporate some brand marks, we can do that too. So we have this Dallas Bandits for the 214. So we might make that like a little bit of a hit right here.
Nice.
Just kind of fill out some of the space. Nothing too.
We're getting some good questions in the chat.
Yeah, love to
Here's
hear
one
them.
question. Ever use path blurs on your subject to show motion?
Path blurs. Yeah, actually, that's something that gets asked for pretty frequently. It is one of those ways to kind of make it feel like the player is more immersed. So let me actually show you guys how to do that. So I'm gonna just color overlay this real quick. Just make sure it's white. And yeah, we're just kind of filling out that negative space here. So the path blur, let's go ahead. We have our player, like we said, smart object, which is great. So one of the things that I'll do is I'll go ahead and do blur, and then I'll go down to motion blur. So path blur is a separate tool, but for me to kind of get the same effect, I kind of use motion blur. So we'll have, it's a little bit slight here, so let me just make it crazy. So here, that's what the tool is able to do, is kind of show like a little bit of motion. So obviously this is too much. And you kind of want to think when you're doing it, like, how is the player actually moving? So, I have the benefit of having played soccer a little bit. So like, something like this, I know that his foot back here is probably moving up to either control the ball or maybe he's flicking the ball up. So this would, I would see this back foot going vertically. So for the motion, I'd have it follow the same type of path to kind of make it feel realistic still. So motion, radial blur. Oops, not that. We'll go blur. Motion blur, then have it go vertically. And let's see if we can, that might be good. And so the smart filters tab here, it might actually take out our camera raw, so there might be a different way to do this maybe a little bit better. But this smart filters layer mask is used as a way to paint out some of these shadows. So yeah, you can see here paint out our motion. But yeah, it also is linked to our camera raw, so that might not be the best way to do it. So I'm gonna go ahead, and I know I said, maybe it's not a good idea to do things that are destructive, but this is not technically destructive, but it is kind of condensing everything into one. So this is our player, where if you double click it, it takes you to this like group that has all of our pre-existing layers. We basically condensed it. Oh, let me just double check that's the right thing. Okay, yeah, don't save that. And then now we can use the motion blur. So I'm gonna go here to filter, blur, motion blur. And then we have our 90-degree motion. And then this should also give us this smart object, our smart filters layer adjustment. So we'll go through, I inverted the mask, so that's Command I. And then I have my brush here. I'm gonna select the white part of our brush. And then I'm just gonna paint in a little bit of motion. So don't wanna overdo it. And the good thing about this is it's all editable, so if it might be too much motion, we can drop it down. And too much motion is never a bad thing. I'll just say, it's always want to have motion. I think that's a big thing. In and out of design, motion's like awesome. So cool. We have this here. It's a little bit of motion, a little bit of subtle movement in our piece. And so for me, I would look at this, I would send this to a client and be like, hey, this kind of hits that sleek motif that we were talking about. Want to make sure that, our player is front and center. And I guess one more thing we can try to do, I know we mentioned the rim light. We can kind of paint that in here really quick. I know we're coming up on time here shortly. But here I'll kind of hit a brush that's like around like 30 to 40 to 50 to 60% hardness. You kind of just adjust relative to where, like how harsh you want the light to be hitting. So let's go 50 here. And you kind of just go in, and this rim light piece is, it's very small, but it does make a subtle difference. You'll go through and kind of just paint the edges of your piece. And like I said, it seems small, but I think it's always worth a quick little pass at the end just to kind of show that there's some like direct light hitting this player, and he feels like even more immersed in the piece. It's also a good way to mask a little bit of like some like cutting out issues. Like for the jersey, for example, I think we had a piece here that was like this little black aliasing going on here. You can kind of use this brush to cover that up, make it look like it never happened, which is great. And cool, we're just painting a little bit more of this here.
You're getting some good questions.
Yeah.
Hey, okay, asks, in a real world scenario for projects like this, what do the deadlines tend to look like?
Oof. That's a great question, and it tends to vary. I think it depends on who you're working with, and it depends on like if it's more reactionary content or if it's content that you have a little bit more time to get to. So, in the past, I've done work where the project scope is maybe like 10 graphics over the course of a month, which is really great. And if a client is willing to work on your timeline, you can kind of, not work when you want, but you can get into a good cadence of kind of working at your own pace, getting things done in a timely manner, but still in a way that you can ensure the quality is there. But for the chargers, it's a little bit different, right? We have a lot of reactionary content that we make. We do a lot of things that are, 2-day turnaround. If it's a social media graphic, which I normally don't directly handle, we have our social media designer that handles that. But for a lot of things, we move really fast during the season. So, we'll have things that we'll get at, maybe 4 p.m. on a Thursday. We'll need it, first thing in the morning on a Friday. But that's kind of like any job. Everyone wants things as soon as possible. So that's just the reality. But it definitely varies. But I always think it pays to be very communicative and upfront with your client about what they can expect, because a lot of times, nobody wants to feel like they're in the dark. Nobody wants to feel like they're not going to get their stuff on time. I always think about it myself as, if I was hiring someone for work, what would I want that work to feel like? I would want to have updates. I want to know, where things are. I want to see like progress throughout the project's entire process, just so I know that we're hitting all of our marks. We're making sure that we're, incorporating our brand elements, that we're incorporating our colors, that everything looks right, and we're not, swinging for the fences on a graphic that just needs to be simple, right? So it definitely varies. I hope that answers your question, because it definitely is different client to client and person to person, but, hopefully that answers it.
Dave had a good question too. We have 2 minutes before we gotta go to our next stream, but what if the client asks to adjust the cyan lighting on the player to better match the grading you choose? Yeah,
that's a great question. So one of the quick ways to do that is using selective color. So this is one of those things that I really like to use. You can use either hue or you could use selective color. So here we have all these settings of different colors that we can adjust from our player if we clip it to our cutout. So the cyan, for example, we have, we can like adjust these sliders to kind of get closer to the colors that we're wanting. So maybe it doesn't look that great now, actually. So maybe hue is the better thing to do here. So let's go hue saturation. We'll clip it on here. You can take this little finger with the 2 arrows, and you can actually select that specific color, and then you can go and you can adjust from there. So if we want to make it orange, let's see, a little bit odd, but that might get us in a good spot to then use a adjust our blend mode to kind of better see how to adjust this. So I think that might be maybe a little better. I'll Command I, and then I will subtly paint in maybe a little bit of that hue, a little bit less hardness. So
go.
It's a little bit of a quick fix. Obviously, we're close to time, so there'll probably be a better way to do it. But that's a little quick way to kind of get closer to that.
Yeah. Well, we are at time for this stream, so thank you for tuning in. Jorge will be back in a little bit. We're gonna have one stream before him.
Yeah.
But up next, I'll be designing some player cards, which will be really fun. And then Jorge will be back, so stay tuned.
Super stoked. Excited to have you guys back.
See you soon.
Hey everyone, today we're going to talk about Firefly Boards. I use this pretty much daily to turn my own illustrations into these animated scenes, and that's what I'm going to do today. Here you can generate images, videos, organize all of those assets, and easily collaborate on the same board with your friends, all from one infinite canvas. New to boards and not really sure where to start? That's totally fine. We've got you covered with some pre-made workflows to help get you started. But I've been using boards for a little bit, so I'm going to start fresh with nothing at all. Well, okay, not nothing. I have an idea, and I also have this illustration that I drew in Adobe Fresco, which I can pull directly into my board from my cloud storage. Dropping into the image generation, I can set my illustration up as my image reference and pick from a bunch of really cool partner models. I'm going to go with Google Gemini 3.1 because honestly, I just really want to say Nano Banana in a video. It's fun to say.
Nano Banana.
From here, I can also pull in a few mood board images as extra references, and I can prompt for the style that I'm going for. Now, I got something back that looks pretty good, and if I wanted to push it further, I could try to use these presets to keep on generating and kind of building on my idea. Kind of a nice low lift way to be able to keep creating but not have to worry about my prompt. Now, I could start generating the video right from here, but let's be honest, this image does kind of need a little bit of tweaking. So I'm going to export to Photoshop, make my edits in the desktop app, and save it back as a PSD, which I can import right into my board. Now, I know this maybe feels a little repetitive. We've got the original here and the Photoshop file, but it's kind of nice to have this non-destructive workflow. And if I make any changes to my PSD, it'll update live right here in Firefly Boards. From here, I use that as my reference to generate the video using the PSD as my first frame. This project's looking pretty good, but I kind of want to share it with my friends. But before I start collaborating, I can actually annotate on my board, can drop in some text, draw on it, just help anyone who's going to be using this project understand what the creative vision was. Then I just hit the share link up here. I can add in the email associated with my friend's Adobe account and send it to them. But what if I don't want to collaborate? What if I just want to put this out there and let people make their own versions? I can do that now too by creating a public link. I can set it up however I like. Anyone with the link can remix the board. It will drop it right into their account that they can build on. And that's how this whole thing started. I was using workflows to help get myself going, and now my project could be a workflow for someone else. And that's it, a quick Firefly Boards 101. I hope you enjoyed it, and I can't wait to see what you create next. See you, everybody.
Hey everyone, welcome back to Adobe Live. My name is Emily Poulin, and it is my honor to introduce one of my favorite designers, Carlos Andres from Phoenix, Arizona. And today we are talking about all things soccer, on and off the fields. Is that an accurate description?
Pretty accurate.
All
yeah.
right.
Yeah.
Well, I do want to say hi to a lot of our friends in chat. I see Cody, I see Steely Dave. Super glad that you guys are hanging out with us today. If you have any questions while we are in the process here, feel free to drop it in the chat and we will get that answered for you today. So we're doing a lot in Firefly Boards, Photoshop, a lot of cool design stuff, creating some player cards. Is that kind of the right word?
Player cards.
Amazing. Carlos, bring us into it. What are we doing today?
Yeah. So I had a really fun project I worked on recently where we got to make these cards that there's a big tournament going on right now. That
Is
we're not
there?
gonna name. Yeah.
Is it a global
It's a global tournament.
soccer tournament?
Soccer, yeah.
Interesting.
Football, but soccer.
Maybe
football.
I've heard of it.
And so I got this opportunity to make these cards for this company that was meeting people outside of stadiums. And I want to do a riff on that.
Cool.
And so we're going to make some player cards. And we're going to start actually in Firefly here. We're in Firefly Boards. And essentially, I'm going to make myself into a soccer player, football player. And then we're going to use these assets to then go into Photoshop. And then we're going to make some cards that we could show people. So here's what I want to do first. So I want to make a trophy for this event. And this trophy will be on the back of the card. And I want the trophy to embody a global tournament, specifically geared towards football, which the USA needs to adopt that. Football is
Yeah,
soccer.
why are we the only country that doesn't say
Quite literally
football?
the only country that, so football is
Chat,
football.
tell us.
Tell us why. But for this global football tournament, we're going to make this trophy. And this is not something I would give to a client. This is going to be for fun today. Ideally, I would get real assets from a client and we wouldn't generate anything. But because we're having fun today and we want to show the power of Firefly, we're going to make a trophy. And so I'm here in Firefly Boards. I'm using Gemini right here. And let's type in some stuff. So I'm going to write a photo of a trophy in the shape of the earth with a football cleat. Well, it might be, I'm going to say soccer cleat, even though it's football.
Let me ask, is it football F-O-O-T-B-A-L-L or F-U-T-B-O-L?
Well, in Spanish, it's football.
Right,
football.
right.
But I don't know if in English it's
That's
also
what I'm
that.
confused on.
I'm pretty sure it's still football. Tell us, chat. We need to
Yeah,
know.
could we have some spell check? That's always a
Spell
good thing
check
for
me.
chat.
I'll say soccer for now.
Yeah, we'll say soccer. I do want to say a quick hi. We have Arcade. Well, Arcade and Josh are in the chat. Good to see you. And we have OnlyFans, Miss Jess Goldsmith herself. Good to see you, Jess. Thanks for hanging out with us. I think it's cool to see what you can create. Like sometimes, right, for a job like this, you'd be like, okay, let me rely on stock photography, but to have a little bit more control and be able to kind of prompt, oh, I want it to look a little bit more like this without having to do extensive photoshopping and, compositing and stuff like that. It's kind of cool that you can just prompt that.
Exactly.
And let me stop talking to you while you're writing because I know that is very hard.
I'm
to
writing
do.
and not trying to write what you're saying.
Yeah, right? No. Steely Dave said the accent came out. We aim to have proper pronunciation here on Adobe Live. So thank you for noticing. I'm going to give you some silence as you frantically type away
Just
over
so
there.
I can type.
Yeah.
Or the soccer cleat. All right, so let's see what it gives us. I've spelled
Perhaps
cleat wrong.
not how we spell cleat.
Nope. I've done this a couple times, and it'll take a couple tries to get it exactly where you want. So let's see what it feeds back. Sometimes it's a little too literal. Sometimes it's right on the money. Ooh, okay, so this is super awesome,
Whoa.
super fun. They put a soccer cleat on top of a trophy with a ball. That's pretty cool. But I forgot to say, you got to be very specific with the generations. And I'm going to say against a white background. This will be easy later on so that we can cut it out, do a clipping mask on in Photoshop.
I think something
So-
that's funny is that it's at an award show. It looks like it's at the White House or something.
It
Do you see
does.
how fancy
Yeah,
that
what the
background
heck?
is? Oh, yeah, everyone there is also in suits.
It's very, very serious.
Oh, and you got a little bit of a leg.
Okay, this is
Oh,
kind of
that's
fun.
cool.
Yeah, I'm kind of liking this. How we feel in chat? Does this look official? Okay, so I'm liking this one. The only thing is you could see a reflection on it. and
Interesting.
It looks like we're just in someone's room. So
It looks very realistic to a studio setting, actually,
yeah,
right? That's
let's get
interesting.
out of a studio real quick. And so what I'm going to actually do is I'm going to take a sample of this photo use as a reference, bring it back in. I'm going to say there's no text or logos on the trophy or the soccer cleat, and there is no reflection on the ball. That way, we don't have to really worry about it in Photoshop later on and try to Photoshop that out. We can just have a ready-to-go image. So let's see what it gives back. I really like the shape of this.
I think it's fun.
Yeah, I think it almost looks real.
Should we petition to replace the other globally known trophy, perhaps?
For this globally known trophy? Okay, so it did not take away the reflection, but sometimes it just...
Can I
Please
try
do.
something?
Yes.
Okay, let's click on the original image. And if you hover over it, see, you already know where it's going to go.
Edit.
Yeah, edit. And then
You're right.
you
Let's
can
see if we
kind of mouse over. Sometimes there is also a reflection I'm seeing on the tinier one. So let's see what it does with this. And if this is successful, then I say we try it. So you're going to have to give it a second maybe. Oh, you don't. You can do both.
Yeah, you can do both. It's pretty
Aren't we just
pretty
learning
epic.
in real time here? Dave says W Generation by Firefly.
W.
And then Jess says the big game. That's
The
what we're
big
referring
game.
to.
Exactly.
Don't worry. Everyone knows.
Exactly. Shout out the final. Okay, we're getting a little
Okay.
somewhere.
Yeah, it
It's a
replaced
little
something.
better.
We are getting a new map, but that's okay.
What? Yeah.
The world is changing, you know?
okay, how are we liking this? I feel like we could generate. I'm gonna keep this one for now.
Okay.
Let me try it one more time.
All right.
Because it did it for me before.
Sure.
There is no reflection. Well, let's just try that again. Sometimes you just do the same exact prompt. It'll give you a better option. Just really doing its best to think about it. So let's see. If not, we'll just run with this one. To be honest, the way I'm going to use it, now that I think about it, it won't matter too much.
Okay.
Because what we're going to do is we're actually going to make this into a threshold design, which is going to be super fun. I love thresholds. It just gives like an extra flair.
Maybe it's a little more.
Yeah, a little
It's
bit.
reduced.
Okay, we're gonna use this one.
Okay.
So we're just gonna keep this here for now. But the next thing that we're gonna do is we're gonna make me into a soccer player, a football player. Man, I'm already going back on what I said I would do. So let me grab my asset. So what you can do here I am. Here's a photo I took. I was at a store. And then I'm gonna drag it in.
I've never dragged and dropped. That's kind of cool.
You can drag and drop, yeah. And so another cool thing is, say you are wanting to reference an image that you take and you only want a certain part of the image to be in the thing you're generating, you can adjust here.
Oh, nice.
So I just want me, and we'll just hope that the phone doesn't come out. And I'm going to say this, a photo of a man playing soccer, or no, I'm going to get a static first.
Okay.
Of a man standing in a soccer uniform. That is, what color should we do?
I'm feeling red.
Red.
Yeah.
For my favorite team, which I don't even know if I can name them, but they're in England.
I do want to look at chat here when I was saying that the countries were changing shape and everything. David said that's Pangea. So
Pangea.
perhaps the original.
OG.
Yeah, the original global soccer
We're going
tournament.
to the beginning.
That's what it was looking like. Jess also had some interesting feedback too. She said, I like using isolated background as a prompt when trying to get something on an isolated background. So
Oh, let me try that out.
that's always
You just
good to
type
know.
out isolated background?
Yeah, like show me this. Like you could even do it for yourself.
Yeah,
Show
I'm
me
gonna do
this
that.
on an isolated background. I do want to point out too, we are trying to prompt with no text or logos on here just to keep everything good and safe for streaming.
And safe.
Yep.
Yeah. So let's see if it could make my dreams come true. I was on the high school football team.
Wow.
Real football, soccer.
Yeah,
football.
which one?
No, the world's football.
We're talking, okay, the world's
Yeah, the
football.
world. And
Wow.
but I was JV. All right, let's see.
That's still pretty good though. You weren't just,
Yeah.
the general team.
They like wanted to put me on varsity, but they're like, you're probably going to be benched, or you could play every game JV.
Wow.
So
and so
there you go.
you were like, you know what, more field time.
yeah, and
Okay,
I scored 3 goals. Okay, looking pretty good, right?
This is great.
Yeah, even got my tattoos, which is so funny, almost. So here's what we're gonna do. Say I don't want my tattoos in there, to be honest. So this like kind of looks like me, kind of doesn't, but
Yeah.
let's just roll with it, you know. Again, click edit, go to remove, and then you can take out these tattoos.
The old bracket tool you're using to
Yes.
kind of tap that down a little bit.
Yes, I'm trying to make it smaller, which you could have
Yes.
done it right here as well. So we're gonna take this out, take this out, take this out.
We
My
have.
heart tattoo, which Emily actually drew for me.
I did draw that for you.
It's pretty baller. Click remove and watch the magic happen. So the reason I'm picking the number 22 is because my favorite soccer player is number 22. Can I say his name or no?
Yeah, sure.
Hugo Ekitike, my man. He is injured right now. So, Hugo, if you're watching this, best of luck to you. Keep healing. Can't wait till you're back. I'm sure you're watching the stream live.
Yeah, drop a little hello in the chat if you are. We would love to see it.
Please. Okay, so this is good. I'm liking this. So I want to then make a couple other images with this image. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to delete my OG image and my prompt. I'm going to, again, use this little eyedropper tool, sample from the artboard, and bring it in. So now the Firefly is going to use this image as the reference. And so now I want to do some dynamic shots of me playing soccer. So I'm going to write a dynamic image photo, let's go photo, of a man kicking a soccer ball.
I'm sorry, chat is just getting me this morning.
Let's go, chat.
We have a Taylor Swift fan in chat
But
saying, I don't know about you. You want to sing it for us?
But I'm feeling 22.
All
I
right.
can't. I don't know if I can sing it because.
Yeah, you know what? That's true.
Man, just trying to
It'll
be
sound
safe.
too similar, right?
Yeah.
And then David said, that's Carl Andrew. That's your official soccer name.
Carl Andrew. Let's go. I like that. I'm actually going to use that as my name then. Okay.
Perfect.
A dynamic photo of a man kicking a soccer ball. He's in motion against a white.
Isolated
Oh,
background.
yeah, let's do that.
Also, we have 2 confirmations that Hugo has called both Jess and David, and they're wishing you good luck.
Hugo, I love you. All right. Come on, Firefly. We were going to see Hugo in a couple weeks. Actually, we're going to see a football match in another
True.
city. Oh, let's go! This is looking pretty cool.
This
What's
is
going on down here?
Wait.
Kind of another person, to be honest.
Yeah, who's that?
I don't know who that is, but we'll run with it. But I'm gonna try generating again because I don't want to try to remove all this because there's some of it that's on
Yeah.
him. So.
They took that person literally from off the field, and they said, could you come in the studio really fast? So he still had, the dirt and everything, I think,
Exactly.
on the cleats.
I'm just going to try a good old there is no dirt in the image and see what that does.
That's exactly what you look like, huh, in high school.
That was me.
That was
quite
from the
literally.
game, actually.
I looked like a 35-year-old man when I was in high school.
That's why you run every game. They were like, that guy.
Exactly.
He's definitely experienced.
I will say I scored 4 goals that season, which I thought was a lot. Okay, now it's putting motion blur. Let's see if I could... it's probably the dynamic. Let me... A photo of a man kicking a soccer ball. All right, let's try that and see what it does. I don't know if you could see it very well on the screen.
Oh, that's cool. Yeah, there's like a little motion
Yeah.
blur.
I don't know if I want it. Maybe I could remove it. Let's see if I could just remove it. And then we won't spend too much. Oh, then
That one looks better. That one looks a little bit more like you.
it does, it does look like me. His mustache is a little nicer, though.
I don't know. Also, I feel like you should read this last chat line.
Dude, Hugo Ekitike is here? Oh my gosh.
Just for you.
Thanks for the well wishes. Dude, Hugo, I love you, man. I'll see you next season. It's me, Hugo Ekitike. I need money.
Okay.
All right.
Back to the stream we go. That's cool. I like that.
Good. Okay, boom. That was the one I wanted. Okay, so I actually want to load this back in. We're going to use this one. Make sure
Yeah,
I
so
don't
what are
lose
you
it.
doing with that? Can you talk us through kind of what that little load button means?
Yes, so load is cool because it'll bring the, let's just click it because I'm actually forgetting. It'll bring the original prompt into.
Yeah, so if you have
Yeah, I think
on
it did
your board, if you have a photo, you're like, oh man, what did I even write to get this image? If you click load, it'll go ahead and bring that back up for you, so you can edit it, change it, and or share it, with a friend collaborator who's asking, how are you prompting these images? And if you don't remember, it kind of keeps track of that for you, which is really awesome.
Except for this one's not. Oh, probably because it's already done it.
Mm.
There you go. So I think this is what I used to make this image. Okay, so we're gonna do one last one.
Okay.
Of me yelling in excitement as if I just scored. So I'm gonna go in here and say a photo of a man yelling with excitement as if he just scored against a solid background. And just to be safe, there are no text or logos on his uniform. Hopefully it keeps it 22 though. Let's see if it does. So this will be the last image we generate before we hop into Photoshop and start making some fun stuff. So I'm seeing this as like, say you are at a fun bar and they want to make some fun, exciting like little tidbits for the event. There we go. This is looking good. That's kind of the vibe that we're gonna go today. So
Like
it
a
won't-
promotional graphic?
Yeah,
That's kind of what you're saying?
Well, yeah, promotional, a
Okay.
little bit more trendy. It's not gonna be super clean. It's gonna lean into like being like I guess, trendy, I guess. I don't know how else
All
to
right,
say
trendy it is.
it. Okay. Let me just say form accept the player number. Okay. But this one is good. I really do like this. Oh, I should have loaded that one in. Let's do
Drop on your
this.
artboard, yeah.
Yeah. And then I'm going to sample it. Let's go.
That person definitely just scored a goal. The winning goal. That's the energy I'm getting from that image.
Right?
Yeah, I think it's great.
Again, what I look like in high school. All right, this is good. We could use this. Okay, cool. So now I got my images here, and then I'm going to take this one.
Okay.
So this is what we're going to be working with today. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to download all 3 of these.
Okay.
Boom. Boom. Sometimes it takes a little bit, but I'm glad it's downloading first try. Boom. Okay, so we're going to be done for our Firefly for the day. We're going to come over here, and I'm going to grab these. Actually, let's start with the soccer ball, the trophy.
And just to give us a little bit of parameters here, are we on 11 by 17? What's our size we're working with here?
So we're on a 4x6. Let's see, where's
Okay,
mine?
we're going tiny.
4x6, yeah.
All
so
right.
it's going to be a smaller card.
Okay.
And so again, I want to start off by getting this trophy and making it into like a cool threshold graphic. So what I'm going to do is I just extended it, made it bigger, and then what we're going to do to start off is come to our adjustment layer. I'm going to throw some grain on this because this is what's going to make the threshold have texture to it. And so Photoshop just put this in. Super convenient. I'm just going to bring it up over here to like 60, I guess. Size, yeah. Roughness, I don't like it being all the way up because then it just looks kind of like almost like waves, like not real looking grain. So I leave it around the middle. Too little will just make it too fine. So around the middle, maybe like 55. Yeah. So just texturized it first. Actually, what I should have done first is we're going to remove this, and we're just going to use the good old remove background tool here.
I'm sitting in front of it. I'm sorry. In the
That's okay.
contextual taskbar, there is a little button that says remove background.
Yes, look, I'm going to show
Well,
you.
oh, thank you, Jacob.
Oh,
yes.
nice.
No, I just asked him to move us to the other side because you were in front of the panel. Anyhow,
So
we're all good, guys.
normally
Remove background.
when you drop an image into Photoshop, it'll pop up here. It'll say remove background. So that is isolated. So if you see, we turn off our background. Nice.
I love the remove
Maxed
background
out.
button.
It
It
makes it
saves
so easy.
so much time.
It does. Okay, grain on this.
Cool.
And then what I like to do, and this is sometimes optional, sometimes I like it, sometimes I don't, but we're going to do it because it may make it easier. We're going to convert this to a smart object.
A little right click, convert to
click.
smart object. Love.
Exactly. And then we're going to come over here to filter, blur. We're going to use Gaussian blur here. And just like a little bit. You see how it just like takes a little bit of like the clarity out? This is going to give it just a little bit more to work with when we do the threshold. So we're going to go up here, click this to get the threshold above it, come to adjustments, threshold. And so,
Whoa.
yes, so we got this going on. And so actually what we're going to want to do is try to get the white to show, because I'm going to invert that, but I want to turn up. See, once you get into this threshold, you can go back to the grain layer and just start to adjust it a little bit. Let's try it around here.
So you're just looking for like a light layer of detail, kind of.
Yeah.
Yeah.
detail.
Okay. Cool.
Yeah, and we're gonna mess around with it, so you'll see right now. So what we're gonna do is I'm gonna group all of these, and then I'm gonna click Command J, just so we have a backup, just in case what I'm gonna do sucks. So what I'm gonna do is I'm actually gonna merge all these into one layer, merge group, and then I'm gonna come up here, go to Select, Color Range, and then I'm gonna click the white. So I'm gonna zoom in a little bit. Oh, let me zoom in just so we can not sample.
I know it's hard to work on the smaller screen, isn't it? I know that you usually work on a
I
bigger,
got two, yeah.
a bigger display.
Okay, select. We're gonna go to Color Range, click the white here,
Cool.
and then what we're gonna do is we're actually gonna mask it.
So many marching
Boom.
ants.
So this is what I'm looking for. Obviously it's hard to tell right now, so let's put a color background behind it just for now. And it's gonna give you some cool, like granular feels to it. This is feeling nice to me. I like this. I like this kind of like stuff. And so what we're gonna do next is I wanna So I actually don't know the shortcut for this, but I'm going to group it, and then I'm going to merge group to make it one layer. And so now this is going to be the back of the card, kind of like the hero image. Kind of think like, oh, can I say? I can't say that brand. There's a big trading card game that has this symbol in the middle, and this is what that's giving to me. So it's going to be like a trading card kind of deal. And I'm going to make a gradient background. So I just click G. I already have one clicked. I made this one earlier. Oops. I'm just going to click down. Oop.
Cool. So you made a new layer, and you're going to be dropping a gradient layer onto that, right?
Yes,
Okay.
but I'm not sure why.
You know,
Oh,
that's
you know why?
just
It's because this.
live streaming. Sometimes everything behaves a little bit differently than you think.
Wait, what is going on?
A quick hello in the chat. It says Lavarios and John say hi.
Oh, dang.
Hello, friends.
What up, gang? Everybody's here. Okay, so I'm not sure what is going on right now. Why is it doing that?
You know, good question, actually.
Okay, we're going to do this a different way then. We're going to do...
You could just make a fill layer and then fill the layer after, yeah.
Yeah, let's do that. What color should I make it? Let's go here. Ah, you got to go solid fill. My bad.
Let's pull up the schedule slide and give you a second to kind of
Yeah.
walk through that. So
There you go.
if you started off the day with us, Jorge Rodriguez is here with us, and he did a really cool how he edits players and everything like that. And then Andy is working on this currently. And then up next, I'm going to be working on a stadium survival guide. So if you find yourself at a sporting event and you are trying to understand what's going on and or just want to keep track of what you're seeing, I'm going to be working on that. And then Jorge will be back at the very end developing and finishing up the pitch for sports teams. So part 2 right there. And then at 1 p.m. we have MagDL with his show On the Spot. Always really cool stuff going on there. So if you are tuning in right now, we're super glad that you're here. Definitely hang out with us in chat. We are doing this in real time. But if you were like, wait, I didn't see that, or I had to step away, this will always be on YouTube, so you can come back and watch it at any time.
All right.
Did we figure it out?
No.
Okay,
but
cool.
It's going to be okay.
We're moving on.
There's probably a reason why the gradient tool isn't doing what I want it to, but
There always is, you know?
let's try it.
It's gonna be like that one like box that you like didn't check or something.
It will be, probably. Gradient tool. Oh, well. If you know in chat why it's not giving me the option to do the gradient, let me know. If not, we're going to be all good.
We'll go for a solid fill. If you click on your solid fill, double click on it.
This one? No.
I think it's that blue. Yeah, double click on the dark blue part. And then, oh yeah, it's on. Okay, never mind. I'm
well.
thinking in Illustrator.
We'll be all right. We'll just continue without the gradient for now.
All right.
Okay, so here's going to be the background. Next
Cool.
up, we're going to start putting in all the little tidbits around it. So we'll click, we'll call this the World Football Tournament. We bring that to the top and then make it black. Let's go. World Football Tournament. And World Football is 2 L's. That's go.
Yeah.
Tournament.
Suddenly I don't know how to spell.
And we are going to use Active Grotesque, actually.
Favorite font.
Oopsies.
I think I will also be using Active Grotesque.
Let's go.
As of now. We'll see. Could change.
We'll find out. All right, let's go bold.
I think it just has so many
Black.
good weights to it.
It really does.
And if you see this typeface chat and you think, wow, I wish I could use that typeface, you can. It is part of the Adobe Font Collection, so if you would like to use it, go ahead and just activate that in your subscription.
Oh, yeah. All right. Let's make sure that this is aligned to the middle.
You're doing something very impressive here. I mean, all of it, obviously, but using a long word like tournament and making it look good, not as easy as you would think, so
Let's go.
good for you, yeah.
W. Okay. And then let's put like little tidbits down here because this is going to be a player card. So we're going to go new layer, text, player card. Actually, I don't want to capitalize player card.
Yeah, we're not going to yell that one.
We're not gonna yell
We're
that.
yelling World Football Tournament, but then player card a little more subtle.
Let's go down to medium.
Nice.
And then we're going to just lower this text. We got to make it a little smaller. Player card. Put like right here. And then we're going to go 2026. Let's go.
It is finally halfway through the year, which is when my brain loads that it is 2026, right? I've passed 2025 finally.
Finally did it. It's almost Christmas time.
So true.
Halfway. Okay. So I'm going to make these white. Boom.
Cool.
And then it would have been a lot more fun to do a gradient
I
background.
know. I'm trying to figure out why that's not working.
Jorge, if you're in the chat, if you could let
Help
me know,
us.
please do. Solid background after being, I don't know. Okay.
Yeah, I wasn't trying that one either.
Anyways, the gradient would have made it pop even more. I'll show you later on what it was, but to me, I love like texturized stuff like this. So let's, yeah, so this would be the background of the card. And then let's just group all this to make it into the back of the card. So we're gonna call this back of card. Boom. Okay, now let's have some more fun. We're gonna bring in the images that we made earlier. Here I
Your
am
alter ego.
in all my football glory. And we're just gonna hit remove background.
And you just hid all your other layers, is that? Sorry, I was looking at my gradient panel to see what was
yeah.
going on.
Please, if you could figure it out. Yeah.
The only thing I'm seeing that's different is my method says smooth, and I think yours said not that. I don't
Let's
remember
see.
what yours said.
Over here,
Double click it. Yours says perceptual. I don't know if that does it.
maybe, let's see. Oh, ugh. Let's go.
That's what we do on Adobe
Thank you,
Live.
chat.
Problem solve in real time.
I'm feeling better immediately. Okay, so let's just bring this back in real quick to this design. Let's put it right here. Turn it on. Turn this off. And boom.
Oh,
I thought
okay,
it
that's-
looks a lot more fun, right?
it's really fun. Okay,
Yeah.
we did lose the white type,
Yes.
so we may need to go save her really
We're gonna
quickly.
save that for sure. Let's bring it to like right here, and then come down here to this. Boom. Let's make that black. Fun, but I'm gonna lower the gradient a little bit more.
Okay. When you say lower the gradient, where the
adjust the gradient,
Okay, yeah, kind of where it's starting to change color.
Yeah, and then let's see if we can actually grab the, where is it? Here it is. Oh, trophy. Maybe make it a little bigger.
I like that's kind of fading out. Is that kind of what you're going for? You're trying to get away from
Yeah.
that.
Well, let's say we're going for that. Gradient.
Just sell it. You know, you're like, actually, yeah.
That is what I'm going for.
exactly what I was thinking. When the client's reviewing, they're like, oh, I like that you really did this. You said,
That is
so
what
true,
I was
actually.
doing. That's what I was doing. Okay, I just thought this was pretty fun.
It's awesome.
If you wanted, you could put like grain on the gradient, but I'm just gonna leave the gradient as it is. So this is just like, imagine the back of the card, just physical media. I love physical media, and so that would be super, super fun. Okay, so this is the background of the player card for the World Football Tournament. Let's start moving over here. So here I am.
So I'm not laughing.
No, you can. Let's see. Oops.
We have an
at
important
me.
comment in chat that says, hello, it's me, Hugo Ekatike. Again, I also happen to love gradient backgrounds, but I don't know how to fix it. So
Dude, no worries.
We got
Hugo. Just focus on getting better. That's all. That's the best he could do right now.
what injury? He broke his leg?
He tore his Achilles tendon.
Ooh,
Yeah.
That's gotta
Ruptured.
hurt.
Ruptured. Yeah. So probably 2027 comeback. So, okay, here I am. So what's fun about this, so I'm actually gonna, again, don't know the shortcut to this, so I'm gonna just make this into one layer. Boom. I'm gonna click mask. Actually, I might be jumping the gun. Let's do this a little later. Let's just get me set up here. And let's do a solid white background over here. No, we gotta do fill. I always forget.
I always just draw a shape.
Fill.
Everyone has their unique,
Way of doing it.
yeah.
Yeah. Okay, so what did Dave call me?
Oh, Carl Andrew, I believe.
Carl Andrew? Okay, there you
It's
go.
like a half translation of your name.
Let's go. Carl Andrew.
Unless that's a real person and I am just unaware, which is quite possible with many athletes.
I'm
but-
sure it is somewhere. Here we go. Okay, then let's make this. Let's go here, actually. Let's bold it, because this is Carl
I was gonna say, yeah, it
Andrew.
was a little bit too subtle, maybe.
Yeah.
Carl
Ooh,
deserves his full moment in the sun.
Exactly. There you go, Carl. All right. Let's bring this in right here.
We did have a comment earlier from Only Fonts that said a postcard, which I think you should just start mailing this to people. You know,
True. Very true.
no questions asked, no context given. Here is a postcard of
Let 'em
Carl
know.
Andrew.
What my dreams and aspirations are. Okay, Carl Andrew, and then let's write. So I am from a town called Riverside, California. Shout out. So we're gonna say the team that I play for is Riverside FC, Riverside Football Club.
Are we shouting out the IE?
We are shouting out the IE.
All right.
The IE, for those who know.
The IE stands for Inland Empire. If you are familiar with the SoCal location, I
Yep.
think we do have a few friends watching from the IE proper. So, love to see it.
The IE rocks. It is a trip, what you find there.
We are having a little discrepancy in the chat about the real Hugo Ekitike. So,
What's going on with Hugo? Are
we
you okay?
have 2 potential Hugo Ekitikes in the chat.
2 Hugos?
I know.
I didn't know it could get better. All right, Riverside FC, and I'm number 22.
He is feeling 22.
Feeling 22. Bring this up over here, and I'm actually gonna make this.
And Steely Dave
No.
says, I like to make an artboard with a white background. Nice. Good process.
Classic.
And then he also said, great song. So,
IE.
we,
I
there
actually
is
don't
always.
know the name of the.
I know. That may be the song.
It might be.
There is always kind of an ongoing bet of like who will sing first on stream because it always happens regardless of like if you mean to or you don't mean to. So I fear you may have lost the bet today.
I'm
You
a
took
singer.
one for the team.
You know that I like to sing.
This is true.
So, can I pull a color code from a gradient? Yeah, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so let's do this real quick. Let's go gradient map. I want the, oopsies,
A recently used gradient.
this guy.
Nice. Yeah, if you
That's-
double click that first one, it should give you your hex code.
There we
There she
go.
is.
Cancel.
Is there a faster way? Maybe.
Probably.
Did it work? Absolutely.
It did. Okay, so I want to make this circle.
Which Photoshop, I don't know if Photoshop or Illustrator got it first, but Photoshop does have your recently used colors right here.
Yeah.
So I did not touch the screen, okay, don't worry, no fingerprints. But it's a very helpful tool instead of having an eyedropper. But I still find myself doing it, so you know, what are you gonna do?
What are you going to do, huh?
So what are we doing here?
Okay, so we're going to just make my player number.
Okay, cool.
And it's just
Give it a
taking
little special
forever.
treatment.
Yes.
I do want to give you a marker. We are about halfway through. You're cooking, so I feel confident on this, but I just want to let you know.
I stay cooking.
You stay cooking.
Okay.
What can't he do? Design, football, cooking?
Even the real Hugo Ekitike, he's, you know what? I'm just going to make the circle. I don't want it blue. I'm going to make it black, and then I'm
Okay.
going to make the text white.
All right.
Boom. Okay.
I feel like that does bring the color back to like your uniform, so
Right.
I respect that.
Could we really quick go off of my screen? Because I want to grab
Totally.
something to sell the Riverside look.
We
Thank
are going
you
to
so
go
much.
to a little talking head, and I am going to check in on chat. Let's see.
How we doing, chat?
You know
Okay.
what? Chat's getting a little heated about who's the real
Hugo?
one.
Hugo's,
But
no, please.
all that I can say is I'm really glad that everyone is supporting us, regardless of if you're the impersonator or the real one. We're happy that you're here.
All right, you can go back to my screen now.
All right, we're back.
So basically, I brought in the rain cross, and I checked. This is like a free domain.
Okay, we love public domain.
Yeah,
That's
public
awesome.
domain. If you've been to Riverside, California, you know like you'll see it everywhere. You slap it on anything, the rain cross. And so I am going to just use this as part of the brand.
Let's hold for a second. I'm not sure if chat can see your screen yet.
Oh.
All right, we're back. Go
there
for
you
it.
go.
There's the rain cross. Everyone
you're
already
from
was
the IE,
picturing it.
There you go. Drop the 951 or the 909, I guess, but
Whoa, yeah. The
951.
area code is really what defines you.
it is.
I have a very non-IE, what's it called, area code. So
Yeah, you're originally from.
I got the Phoenix. I don't even know if it's Phoenix. I don't know. I got the Arizona area code. One of.
Yeah.
But California has so many. I mean, it's a giant state, so it's fair. Okay, so what'd you do? You took out the gradient by putting in a fill layer and then you merged them together. Is that kind of what we're seeing?
Yes,
Love
I
it.
did. Yeah.
All right, and you're gonna just be kind of imposing. No, in the background.
No, I
Very
just
cool.
want it right here. Although maybe if we have time, I might try attempting doing what Jorge did in the last stream because it was sick.
Well, it's still fresh. You're like, let me try that out.
Jorge, you're the best, bro. Okay, so here we go. Carl Andrew, number 22 for Riverside FC.
Nice.
You got the Riverside logo here. Now let's, before we start doing some stuff with my photo, let's just continue writing some stuff in. Let's put it over there. So, chat, if you can help me, let's start thinking up some stats for this player. I'm going to start off with the first one because Carl Andrew, he's a striker. And so, of course, the goal contributions that he's made
Off the charts.
off the charts for this season already is 150 goals.
Wow.
Which, you know, it's just, I want to be realistic about how I would play.
Yeah.
So let's go over here. Oops, that's
Would that
actually
put
not
you
what I
in
wanna
like the
do.
top scoring person in the
You know, if
universe.
I'm just being realistic. I'm not where Messi is. Messi's 1,000 plus right now. So
Really?
I'm just humble. That's like
How
the
does
thing
that
about
work?
me. I'm just humble.
Yeah, it shows. Wait, how does that work? If in the standard soccer game the average score is like 3 is like the highest I've seen, or let's say 5, how are you getting 1,000? What do you mean? Is that like lifetime?
Over decades. Yeah.
Oh, okay, it's lifetime. It's not per season.
Yeah, except for
Okay.
me, because I'll hit that pretty soon. But
Oh, right. Okay.
yeah.
You are getting some shout outs in the chat about how good of a cook you are. He can cook a ribeye for real. So
Who's
that's
saying
true.
that? That's crazy.
Steely Dave is giving you that shout out.
Dang, Dave.
Or no, I lied. Sorry. Josh is giving you that shout out.
Josh, my man.
Steely Dave would like to say celebrations per game.
Celebrations per game. Okay.
Yeah.
Let's say like people celebrate me or I celebrate.
I think it would be you. Maybe you're
I like
supporting your teammates and your fans.
Let's go celebrations.
He gave you 67 per.
Okay. Let's
But
go.
you can adjust that to what is like, more true to your playing style.
No, I'm a happy guy. So
All right.
there's a lot.
But that would really only mean that you're celebrating only half your goals, which seems kind of interesting to me. If the math is mathing,
Like I said, I'm just like
you're so humble.
I'm incredibly humble. Like that's the thing about me. I exude humbleness.
Okay, we do have some real stats coming in for you here. It sounds like your analysis team has clocked in. Yep. So we have 28 matches, 11 goals, 5 assists for no particular reason.
Okay, 11 goals. Well,
That is a conflict from what we're seeing. So
yeah,
whoa.
I'm just trying to be true to who I am. But I did like, what was the other thing they said?
5 assists
Assist. There you go.
for no particular reason.
We got to get
does
more
that mean?
assists. 5 assists for no particular reason. Honestly, Hugo said it, so that's what.
So no question
That's
asked.
a no
Good.
questions asked. Assists. Okay. Where? Okay. 6, 7. Sorry. Assists 5, and in parentheses, no reason. Why not? I'm gonna just make that a little smaller.
Yeah, I think that's subtext. I think
Yeah.
that's good. We need the hierarchy here. So a quick glance, those read 5. It's good.
All right. We'll go somewhere around here, and let's see. I'm gonna just group all of my text here. Oh, it's already grouped. Nice.
Can you have like a special skill like?
Oh, I
You know,
love
like-
that idea. Maybe I should do. Let's see. Let's move it up, and then I'm just gonna do a text down here. Like you know how that
Like little-
famous trading card game? You'll have
I love
like,
that game.
Yeah, the
I
big
know,
one
don't
where
worry.
you try to catch them all. You know what I'm
I
talking
caught
about?
it up here.
Yeah, they have like special skills.
That's exactly what I was
Yeah.
thinking of.
Okay, perfect. So let's see. What'll be my special
I think it could be like ribeye cooking or
ribeye cooking?
like in the middle of the match, you might just like,
I'm gonna call
Pause it for a second.
My signature move, the ribeye flick.
ooh, okay, I like that.
Let's go. Special move, ribeye. Oop. As you can see, typing's not my strong suit.
Spelling is out the window on Adobe Live.
Yeah,
That's
try-
not what we're here for.
Ribeye flick. Okay. Let's center this bad boy.
Ooh, could we do, this is gonna blow your mind with my soccer knowledge right now. Could we say hat trick and then say at least 5 hat tricks?
Okay.
Which would be 25. How many? It's 5 is a hat trick?
3 is a fact.
3. Okay, so
Yeah.
15. Special move. Ribeye.
Okay. I think all this text is a little. Okay. Let me do something real quick.
Maybe that goes in like a color bar?
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah. I like
Or maybe
that.
that's calling it out too much. Maybe that's too much attention.
You're right. I'm a humble guy.
Or sorry, I'm really riffing on this here, but do you have multiple cards? And so like this one, your special move is the ribeye.
Oh.
And then there's like, so that could be in the color bar, so you like quickly, yeah? All right.
You are just the idea person.
That's
okay.
what I'm here for.
This will
Some
be
say
the-
hosting.
This will be the special. But okay. So here's what we're gonna do. We're gonna forget this photo of me for now.
Oh.
Also, I'm so sorry that I'm not a self-centered person. I just didn't want to ask anybody else if I could use them on stream.
Actually, to be fair, you tried photos of me and they all looked really strange, so I said no.
Okay, there you go.
Someone's asking, I have no soccer knowledge. What is a hat trick? Let me define it and let you correct me.
Go for it.
In the course of one game, if you score 3 in a row, hat trick.
Let's go.
It's like in bowling. If you do 5, you get a turkey.
Yes. Yeah.
It's
yeah.
interesting how that works.
Yeah. Well, it doesn't have to be 3 in a row, just 3 in the game. Because
Oh.
if someone scores in between you, then
That's actually
it's
fair.
still a hat trick. You got the hat trick. But
I guess same for bowling.
yeah, usually
You personally, 5 in a row.
the most elite get hat tricks. As you can see, I'm
That's-
exuding eliteness.
Carl
Oh,
Andrew.
but then I'm not an elitist. man.
All right, let's
I
not
gotta
worry
be-
too
I
much
gotta
about
be
it.
careful.
Let's just focus on the game.
I'm so sorry.
Cody says Emily always has the ideas. It's true. Sorry. Things just come to mind. What can I say? And then Josh says it's his mega evolution.
Let's go.
We're doing some
That's
Pokemon
there
throwdowns
you go.
here.
So we can say it.
You know, it's debated.
Okay. Cool. Ah, where is it? Oh, I put it.
You got
in
too
the
many
group.
layers going
That's
on.
Why. Wait, what? Oh, that's embarrassing. All right, there you go. And then I'm gonna just merge this group. I'd probably just make that into a smart object.
I
Okay.
feel like there's nothing like showing other people your process to make you think, should I do it this way? So,
Well, I'm fighting some battles right now.
you're so brave.
Okay, let's bring back this gradient over here, which is fun. Boom. And then let's try to make me a bit more dramatic.
You dramatic?
Never.
I can't
right?
picture it.
So let's make me a little bigger. So then what I'm going to do is I'm going to make a mask in here. And then I'm going to put a gradient into the... Oh,
Someone says, I like the bowling analogy. Thank you. I have such a wide breadth of sports knowledge. So don't worry.
okay. Once again...
Is bowling a sport? Yeah, right.
Oh, maybe because I have to... Is bowling a sport? Wow, that's a...
Survey question. Is
Yeah.
bowling a sport?
Would you say yes or would you say no?
All right, what are we doing?
Okay, so I want to make me into a gradient.
Okay.
So I know that if I, let's try this again, mask myself, I should be able to put a gradient into, why is it not working again though? If anybody knows, these are the things that, it works well and perfect in the run up. And
Yep.
then, oh, you know why?
It's like when you practice what you're going to say to someone, then you start and you're like, oh,
You're like,
I said none of the words I was hoping to say.
Exactly. Maybe if I click a color, nope. Okay.
You could always do a new layer and then apply it option between layers and kind of just
Oh, you're right. Okay, let's
force
try
it
that.
to go that way.
Oh, okay. What was the thing you did earlier?
We did method. Let's do smooth. And try. It's really fighting you on this one
It really
today.
is. Because it literally worked immediately as soon as...
Can you just copy your other layer that it worked on?
Yeah, let's do that. Oh,
You know, maybe your Photoshop crashed.
my Photoshop
All right, let's
crashed.
cut to our heads quickly here. And then we'll see if we could just relaunch that.
All right, BRB. Just my luck, huh?
No worries. Let's check in on chat. All right, everyone's hanging out.
Hey, okay.
Are we back?
Yeah,
You
we
know
didn't
what?
lose everything,
Maybe
which is
that's
good.
why we. Oh yeah, we did lose a few things.
We lose quite a bit, but that's okay. Maybe that's a sign that I had to be more humble.
You know, I don't I don't want to call you out here, but you haven't saved your file. Perhaps after a recent crash, we should save that.
That's true. You know what?
All good? You're just gonna run it till the end? We have about 10 minutes left, so up to you.
Yeah, let's just...
All right.
Sorry we don't have a finished product here. Let's
You can just
go.
save it right there. That's fine. Anywhere
Right,
you
what am
save
I
it,
doing?
it's gonna be fine.
Yeah.
We'll just get a copy going there just to make sure we have a little.
Okay, let me skip all of the stuff I was gonna write.
Yeah, sorry, you're not gonna get to keep your special
okay.
skills anymore.
That's all right. But I will put in this fun photo of me over here.
Yeah, we're back. Okay, cool. So we're gonna remove the background
Remove background.
and we're gonna try gradient again. Unless Photoshop is really upset about gradients today.
Yes. I'm gonna convert this to a smart
Is it a
object.
gradient on a Thursday? Are you kidding me?
See, that's what I was trying to do.
You know, that's
Uh-huh.
why I was acting up.
Okay, so but let's make the background real quick
Okay.
a gradient. And I want to pick the one that I used earlier. Here we go. Boom.
Love it.
Love it.
Honestly, great contrast with the red.
There you go.
Love that.
Blue and red. And then we're going to go to the photo of me, come into the clipping mask, and then we're going to go, there we go. Which,
David says that designers work best under pressure.
yeah. So
It's
does
true.
my anxiety. I'm just kidding.
We did talk about yesterday on the podcast about how, you know, a little bit of anxiety always helps you deliver on time, I feel like, you know?
It's true.
But maybe there's a dream world in which, you know, you're not anxious and you're just delivering on time. That would also be really cool. I have yet to be there, but Might be a little plug as well. If you guys want to hear us just talk about life and careers, we had Jorge Rodriguez on the podcast yesterday. Andy and I hosted. It was awesome. Maybe we could get a link in the chat to that if you want to check out that episode. But it's a good listen. A lot of stuff I learned personally. And we do talk about sports, so tune in.
It's pretty awesome. Shout out Jorge. All right, let's just...
All right, we got the gradient going.
Yeah, we did.
Looks cool.
All right, cool. And then let's actually...
All right, so you are brushing
No,
on...
that's not what
You
I
don't
wanna
want to do that. Okay,
No,
never mind.
I don't. I just
Scratch
wanted a
that.
smart little thing on me. If I had all of what's his name scales, I would start putting colors on me right now, but that's okay. Let's go back to the bottom and write in my super awesome skill,
Okay.
which was a special move.
The ribeye sear.
Okay, ribeye sear.
Yeah,
Is that how you spell sear? I'm pretty sure.
I think so.
All right, then let's get this aligned. Boom. Okay. And then for the sake of time, actually, this is what I was going to do originally. Let's just use the other photos of me as well.
Oh, this is so fun. I saw you do a comp of this earlier, and it's very cool, so I'm very excited that you're doing it this way.
Yeah.
Awesome. We just got a link. Thank you, Cody. A link to the podcast right there in the chat for you. So maybe just click it, queue it up in your browser, and then once the stream ends at 2 p.m., you can go ahead and give that a listen for tomorrow, for your Friday workday.
Let's get this gradient going up a little bit. And then, actually, yeah, maybe we should do all three, just to give it a little of a dynamic. Where did I go? There I am.
Are we going to get the one of you celebrating? That one's so
Yeah,
fun.
that's... Because that's my celebrations per game. It's like one of my
Yeah,
things.
you're known for that. Are you going to do like a celebration dance? Like, what's your thing? Have you thought about this? I feel like you would have one.
Maybe the
on deck.
Dougie.
Okay, cool. Something a little vintage for the crowd.
Yeah, there you go. I'm Unk now, so
Yeah, that's so true.
if you're an Unk, drop an Unk in the chat.
And if you're too unk to know what unk means,
You are
I feel
Unk.
you. No worries. This is such like the classic. Oh, super tiny. It's such the classic edit. This is fun.
Yeah. Okay. I'm going to convert this to a smart object as well. I'm going to do this little mask. Okay. Jorge, give me some tips afterwards to make this look even more amazing. Because this is just for fun right now.
We
Okay.
have one unk in the chat.
Where the Unk's at.
One honest person in the chat.
All right. I actually wanted to call the ribeye flick.
That, we did get that comment as well. I personally do not know what that means, so I stayed within my vocabulary.
Flick is like just a, you just like flick the ball. Flick.
See, as a non-athlete, as a non-soccer athlete, let me be clear.
You were an athlete.
Yeah?
Yeah, you remember. All right. Let's see. What would you add to it, Em? You got any flavor
I
you
still
want to add
think
to it?
the color bar at the bottom, I think, would be kind of
Yeah.
fun for your special move. I think that's cool.
Let's do that.
And then maybe, I know that you did texture on the front for that like cool threshold kind of version. I may want to see texture on that back gradient just to kind of like tie the front and the
I
back
like that.
together.
You're right. Let's do
Or, wait, did you lose it in the great crash?
Oh, the great crash. Let's see.
Because if you didn't, it could be kind of cool to like put it in the background, kind of like drop opacity, you know what I'm
Okay,
saying?
yeah.
Really like
let's try
give the
that.
vision.
Okay.
Ooh, we have a request. Make it holographic.
Ooh,
A great idea.
I love that.
Ultra rare Carl Andrew
Where's
card.
this thing? Oh, here it is. Let's bring it up here.
Can you use Firefly to make this into like a stack of the playing cards?
Oh, maybe.
Okay, cool, right? It could be cool. If it's not cool, don't listen to me.
No, I actually
I
think
have
it
a lot of bad
is.
ideas, but also a lot of good ideas. So
Oh, that's the text. Okay. And then, yeah, let's lower the opacity, maybe. Is it working? Maybe, maybe not.
I think it could work. Sorry, I was thinking like maybe it should be like, when in doubt for me, I'm like, if the opacity's not working, we're gonna change the color and do like a multiply or like kind of the other spectrum to just drop it in. But I'm not mad. Let's leave it for now and see.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay. How about this? Let's go back into Firefly. Let's export both these and make
Okay.
an actual card.
Let's do it.
Yeah, one sec.
Josh says ribeye in the background. Honestly, I see the
Dude.
vision.
Straight up. Dry aged. Shout out dry age.
On the next segment of Adobe Live, Carlos will be
Exactly.
cooking.
All right, let's export this as a JPEG.
I'm also smelling toast. Is anyone else smelling toast
Yeah,
in
is
here?
there a fire? Please don't be a fire.
Yeah.
This is gonna be front.
Nice.
Perfect.
I think one thing that's really cool about Firefly Boards is to be able to see this in real time, right? And say, let me just see what would a quick version of this look like. Do I want to pursue this? Do I want to pitch this to the client? I think it's a really good way to kind of visualize your designs and bring them to life in a faster workflow. Okay, so you exported these. You're going to bring them back
Yes.
into Firefly. Are you going to drag and drop?
I'm gonna drag and drop.
Since I just learned that you can do this. You also use like multiple screens. I don't. I
do.
exist in one screen. I get lost in the
Alright.
in the multiple desktops. What are they?
I don't even
No,
know
there's
what we
windows,
call
huh?
it. Oh, you know what? I just messed up. Oh,
You
did I
can do
get
that.
this?
That's fine.
Boom. Boom.
We are in the final 4 minutes here,
Yeah.
so you are
We're
gonna.
down to the wire.
Oh yeah.
Um,
But for an athlete like yourself, no pressure at all.
the photo of this mocked up on a card sitting on a bar table.
Let's just do a desk.
Let's do a desk sitting on a desk. Let's just see what that gives us.
You should drop the back in there too, so maybe we'll get like so like let that generation cook, and then maybe let's bring in the back one and see kind of like both of them together.
This is so ridiculous.
No, it's so fun. And I mean, this is people make these. This is important
Yeah.
stuff to know how
No,
to do.
it's fun. It's fun. I'm just laughing that it's me. And
That's very fair.
okay, there you go.
Okay, fun.
Getting a finished copy. See, I love physical media. This
Right,
makes
it's
it feel
cool.
like almost official.
Okay, let's see. Let's try one with the front and the back,
Yeah.
and then we'll have you give a little recap. Maybe like,
Two cards.
yeah. Let's
I'm
see.
gonna have this sitting on a football field.
Oh, I love that. Great idea.
Notice I said football, then type soccer.
The way you're able to just translate in real time is just so impressive.
Yeah, I'm just
Yeah.
fluent.
For an athlete like yourself.
How we doing, chat? Were the vibes up? I'm sorry my computer crashed.
Hey, it happens. It's a Thursday. You
It
know?
is. It is a
it's
Thursday.
a lot to ask on a
My
Thursday.
poor laptop. I was working all day yesterday too, so
I know.
it's almost leaking, buddy. Don't worry.
Jess says, I'm going to sell these on eBay and make my millions. You heard it here first, chat. Get in when the floors. Get in at the starting line
Get
is
in
what I
now,
want to
'cause
say.
I'm at 150 goals already, so.
Have you seen these stats? Unreal, some may
Yeah.
say.
Okay,
Oh,
look at
so
this.
good. Wait, the
How
rounded edges. Very
fun.
nice touch.
Oh yeah, they actually give card. Look at that. Shout out Riverside FC.
I love it.
Man, I feel like this was fun.
This was great.
Was
Okay,
it fun?
we got super fun.
Yeah.
We have 2 minutes left. Can you walk us through top to bottom, where we started, where we ended up?
Yes. Okay. Great idea. So we started here in Firefly, and I wanted to make a trophy first. So here's what we did. We generated this trophy. I wanted less glare on it, but it actually turned out not to matter. I forgot that it didn't really matter. But if you don't want it, you could try to blur it out. You could probably do some stuff in Photoshop as well that we don't have time to go over now. And then I generated these images of me in a soccer uniform with Hugo Ekatike's number. And then we brought it into Photoshop here.
I do want to mention that you generated those with photos of yourself, with reference images, right?
Yes, I did.
Yeah.
It was just one photo of me, and I wasn't even wearing soccer clothes, so it's very powerful if you want to make something fun like that. And then, yeah, player card 2026 just made a gradient background. We turned the trophy into this threshold image, which I just love the texture of it. It's always
So
super
cool.
fun. I masked it and then inverted it, so all of the shiny white part. I selected the color, masked the color. That's what I did. And then, yeah, we just made the front of the card after that. And I thought this was actually a good touch, and we just threw myself in there, just celebrating my 150 goals. 22, never forget where you're from. It's always important. Shout out Riverside. And yeah, this is just super fun. So like if you're having a party with friends and you want to make some fun stuff, you know what you could do? You could just get photos of all your friends. Oh, for the final, for the world tournament that's happening Sunday, if you want to do a little fun thing with your friends, try doing something like this. Get them all into soccer poses with their consent to use their images, and then just like mock them up. It'll be fun. And
Better
then-
yet, print them out. Have them ready when they get to your house.
I agree that. Do physical media. Physical media is actually the best.
Print
so.
is not dead. Well, so cool. Thank you so much for coming on and showing us this process. I had a great time, chat. Thank you so much as always for hanging out with us. We're gonna take a quick 5-minute break, and then I'm gonna switch over to that seat and I'm gonna create with you, hopefully, if you'll give us your input, a stadium survival guide. So if you're showing up thinking, I don't know enough about this game, we're gonna go over hat tricks, rules, and some just fun stuff to keep you engaged. So stick around, we are gonna do some more design work, and thank you so much for tuning in.
See you soon.
So we're gonna be building a sports identity from scratch. So I've set up a full brand strategy to walk through. I grew up as an athlete and kind of got my start working with AU basketball teams, like uploading projects on Behance when I first started in graphic design. And then I got an internship with the 49ers and became lead designer for USC Athletics. And so, yeah, I've been tinkering with sports design since I was a kid. I have been experimenting with Firefly Boards to come up with a way to mood board and come in with clients to work together to build out a brand identity from scratch. I put together a 8-step process today that we're gonna walk through, and we're gonna come up with a brand from scratch. In order to build a brand identity, we kind of have to figure out exactly what the vibrance and the essence of the community we're building the team in. The next step in our process is to kind of build out a mood board. I came up with a couple different visual directions, and I generated this entirely in Firefly. And so I just told it to give me a mood board with 10 different images that represented these different personas. I like both this direction and what we're getting over here. And we're gonna build out our color palette from scratch here. We always wanna make sure that we're not copying a color scheme from another team in the league. I think our next step here is to generate some logos.
All right, so here though we have, you wrote a prompt that says creating a logo for the Baltimore Blue Crabs, NBA franchise, navy and orange color palette. And then you used the eye picker tool to this bulldog, and then you highlight all of the colors, and then also eyedropper that as part of the source material for this generation, right?
Yeah, so our next step is gonna be choosing typography. I chose a bunch of different types of fonts so that we would have some different choices here. I'm really liking this script font. This is actually called Mascot. And so I'm really liking this kind of slab serif font.
Yeah, Baltimore looks really nice actually in that. So we have our primary logo, we have our secondary logo. Now we're moving over to step 7, which is our uniforms. Create a basketball uniform featuring this logo in the center of the jersey, front and back.
Yeah, so let's try to enhance this prompt, see if we can get something a little bit better.
We immediately get this great uniform. Well, thank you again for joining us, Brady. It was great having you. Thanks for walking us through this. Thanks.
What's up, guys? We're back, stream 3 for our 4-part stream today. I'm here with the wonderful Emily. She's going to be taking us through some neat survival guides, I think is what we're doing today.
Yep.
So why don't you tell us a little bit about that?
Absolutely. Well, we are going to be creating in Illustrator kind of a stadium survival guide that you could either fill out, I think in printing, bringing it with you and having a casual reference to know like what's going on, and if you're getting bored, which could happen. We hope it won't. You know, just some little activities for you to do. So I have some ideas prepared. I would also, of course, love your input and chat. Ideas, input, feedback are all appreciated here. So I think it'll be fun. Today we are kind of streaming all around the global football soccer tournament. Big tournament. People are watching everywhere. So we want to just kind of create something else around the moment and having fun with that. So this is my interpretation of part of that. So we can jump to my screen. I am on one of my favorite sites. Are you a frequenter of fonts.adobe.com?
For our streams today that I was working on, Adobe Fonts was kind of the go-to for me.
Yes, I feel, I used to know the number, but I feel like it changes all the time. There are just thousands and upon thousands of many fonts here. And I think it's really fun. It's always a good time to just kind of sit back and think, what could this look like? Should I introduce a new font to my family? So I think we're gonna do a little bit of looking here to kind of get something like athletic, something classic. Yeah, that's kind of where I'm thinking right now. And then we're gonna choose some colors, and then we are gonna start some generations in Firefly Boards. So a lot of things happening, and then we're gonna end up in Illustrator, and it's all gonna come together. Nice. So I'm gonna type and look for a font. I think they sometimes have some, what's it called? Descriptions of like types of fonts that we could look at. Sure. So I'm gonna start here, see if it prompts anything for me, and if not, so like horror, probably not the right one for us. I'm looking for something like college maybe. Typewriter could be fun, kind of like a reporter vibe of like, I'm at the game, I'm writing, reporter stuff. Yeah, that could be cool, right? I think we're gonna start there. Art Deco, probably not. Fun, could also be fun.
For sure. No, love it.
Shoot.
Up to you.
I'm gonna do fun for sure. Let's start with fun. Why not? Okay? And see if anything in here really stands out to us. So I'm gonna type in, so we were trying to debate. If you don't say soccer, you say football. How are we spelling it? Like classic.
Football.
Right?
Yeah.
Okay, I don't know.
What is it? O-L?
B-O-L, yeah. Okay. Then we're gonna go for it this way and just see. Okay, that's crazy. Look at this font.
Oh, I love that.
That's fun.
Dude, those are crazy.
There's always something new happening here.
Oh, I like that. What is that? Comba on the bottom?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Let's just click on it. Let's see. We'll never know. Okay.
Okay, unique glyphs.
Interesting.
I see you.
That's such a designer thing to say. I love it. Okay, I'm gonna. I can't make this bigger for you guys. You won't be able to see it. I almost want to download it just to see all the glyphs to see like what the alternate. I'm wondering if it's just the O. No, they all look kind of fun.
That's super cool.
Might just have to add to family. Can't say no. I'm interested. You got me. Okay, I'm gonna go back though. I think because we are going to be dealing with terms and things we don't know, I want to have a font that's really legible and easy to understand, so we're not getting kind of lost in that. I want to make sure that this is showing up for us. I'm going to retype that in there so we can kind of look and picture, oh, this is very fun. Mm-hmm. Kind of if you're running around the field maybe, and see what we got here. This feels too classic. This feels too like elementary building blocks. We're a little bit more, we're past that, We bought tickets to the game, so we kind of know what's going on here. Okay, this could be fun. Kind of action-y.
Yeah.
This one's kind of classic too, though.
That's cool. All
right. This is one of my favorite things that happens when you're like, oh, that one's cool, and then you already have it in your font book. So this may be the one for us today.
Nice.
Giga Lips. Lipes? I don't know. Don't know how I want to say that one. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and type out here in Illustrator. Oh, don't look at my plan to the side here. Okay, so we're going to do football.
We did get a shout out for Comba being used before, so maybe it's good to do something different. So
I love that. Okay, it's a cool one. Andrew always knows what's good. Okay, what did I say? I said Giga
Lips.
Is that how we're right? Am I crazy, or is that how we're saying that? I feel like that looks right. Okay, cool. I do kind of want a typewriter font. Once I saw that, it kind of triggered something for me where I was like, you know what, having like a reporter type thing is kind of cool. So I'm gonna go to typewriter and see, before I just use the classics that I already have, is there something fresh? Is there something new? I do like that this has kind of a call up behind it. I could see this going well for kind of a descriptor.
Right.
So I may add that one. Let me remember this name. And let's see if anything else is this is kind of fun too, a little different. But I already have one. Perfect. Let's run with that. Okay, so Jetsam Collection and then Nitty Typewriter. Let's go with it. I'm gonna kind of just use the same one, and I already forgot what it was.
GD.
Jetsam. Cool. Maybe a little spooky. Let's see. Could lean horror. We're not sure. And we decided that we didn't want to do that. So, cool. I wonder how you get... No, it was awesome. Oh, kind of fun. Wait, did you see that other one that was underlined too?
Yeah.
Ooh.
That's
Color
pretty
me
cool.
intrigued.
That's pretty cool.
Okay. I'm going to commit to this one. I think this is cool. I'm going to use that other weight too. So I'm going to do Cameo because I think this is going to save me some time as I'm like dropping stuff on my artboard. And then I'm also going to do normal as well. So I kind of have my options. The more you write one word, the more it seems not spelled correctly.
Yeah.
Is this right?
Let's double check.
Now I'm feeling strange about it. We might just go with classic soccer.
No, looks right.
That was right.
Yep.
Okay. I was working on a project the other day and I had to write the word sport. And it's like, the more I read the word sport, I was like, is this a real word? Like, I just don't even know if
It's so weird.
Yeah, I don't know what it is. Okay, cool. So I have that, and then I'm also going to jump over to color. I feel like color is something that takes me a long time to decide on, land on, and so this is always something that helps me a little bit. Have you ever used Adobe Color?
Adobe Color, no, I have not. So let's break into it. I'm excited to see.
Fabulous. Okay, cool. So there's a few things on here that can be helpful for you. Contrast checker, extracting a gradient, extracting a palette. So if you have a photo that you like and you're like, something about this vibe is just working for me, this is a great place to kind of bring that in. Also pretty user-friendly if you are kind of new at choosing colors and doing stuff like that, a great place to start. I'm just gonna go to explore palettes. Create now. Let's go. Cool. There's a lot of different categories in here that you can choose from. Some people upload their own. So if you like find other community members that are making cool stuff, this is a great place to pull that from too. But I'm going to do something like bright, athletics, and let's see, cool. I totally spelled that wrong. Athletic.
We got Andy in the chat. We got Ethan in the chat, all saying what's up.
Hey everyone.
Excited to have you guys. We're looking at some colors right now, about to make this survival guide. So thank you for joining us. Love to see it.
I'm wondering, are there any immediate colors that are jumping off the page too here?
I don't know. It's tough because with the World's Tournament, you know, there's so many different teams, so many different colors. It makes it really tough. I guess my initial thought is like to do something neutral, but I feel like it's so exciting. I don't know. Let's see.
I'm not mad about these.
Those are cool.
It could be because I was really rooting for Team USA, I will say.
Shout out.
Could be. So I may start here. And I'm going to download. Didn't want to download. I want to add a save to library. Are you a big libraries person?
I'm like the biggest. I don't think there's a bigger library person than me, to be honest.
You won't even find one. I challenge you to find one.
No, literally.
I love that. Okay, I'm going to save this to Adobe, I guess, is a library that I already have set up. Sounds like the right one for us.
Nice.
I'm going to do my color theme. That's fine. I don't really need to do anything crazy with this. I just really want this to jump into Illustrator for me. So something that's great about color.adobe.com is that this links with your program. So if you want to just be able to select it and upload it and just have it in your program, not having to download, not having to do anything like that, this is a really good shortcut to do that. So would recommend.
Nice.
We do have a chat. Yeah.
Yeah, Rez Chapel. I love this. Literally feel so lost on color sometimes. Going to use this for the wine bar flyers. I love that.
Yep.
I'm on the same boat all the time. Colors is like one of the hardest parts about designing for me. So this is like a game changer, low-key.
Wait, hold on. I'm glad to hear that, guys. I saw something up here, vaporwave, which I know is like a really cool, like trendy, like design term. So I had to click it and see to see if we want anything else in here because these are actually really fun and wild. These are interesting. Okay, I committed to our colors, but I think this is really fun. And yeah, so maybe explore in here. Oh, synthwave.
Okay.
Crazy.
Dang.
These are fun.
These are nice.
Okay, anyhow. I said we were coming here to save time, and yet we are still here. So we'll move on from that, but a really good place to get your inspiration, so would recommend. Okay, so here we are in Adobe. True. In Firefly Boards, and I want to generate some images that I want to use kind of on this guide. So I think having a soccer ball is going to be a place to start.
Sure.
I want to try and get like a unique treatment to it off the bat, so kind of save me some time while I'm working. So I'm going to generate an image. Pay no attention to past generations as I was prepping for the stream. But I want to generate a, I'm going to do black and white. So, okay, show me a black and white soccer ball with halftone gradient on a grady. Did I spell soccer ball wrong? Is it 2 words?
I I think it's 2 words. Yeah.
Yeah.
You
A
got
little
it.
adjective noun situation there. Okay, halftone gradient on isolated background. Anything I want to say about this? No, I think this is cool. Let's go ahead and generate that.
Love it.
I saw you were doing a lot of things in Firefly Boards as well. At
Yeah.
the beginning of the stream.
No, I'm a big Firefly guy. I think, I've said it in the streams I've done in the past, but, using it as a way to organize your thoughts and be able to share things with your clients, I think is always super great. We see have a little bit of a delayed chat here, but USA with the broken heart emoji. Feel that. It was a rough game. Prefer to forget, but, we're still here to living it live. So we got our soccer ball back in here too. So that's awesome.
We're back at it. Yeah, so this is kind of cool. So it generated a little bit. It's interesting to see like what this interpretation. Oh, you know what I should say? Show me a realistic. Show me how to type. Realistic.
I feel like whenever you're on stream, like
No.
I always like mistype. Like
Yeah.
I get stage fright.
To be fair, I'm also mistyping when I'm not on stream, but
Right.
it does seem to happen a little bit more
There you
while
go.
I'm on here. So it went for a little bit of like a illustrated version. I'm not mad about it. I think it's cool. I'm gonna keep this as an option, but I do want to see what else it's gonna offer me. This one's kind of cool too. Some little like depth of fields. It gave me halftone print on the ball. Interesting. This one, we may have to make it larger to see. Pretty similar to the first one, but isolated background for sure. And then realistic. I'm getting very light halftone on this.
Yeah.
That's okay. I think this is fine. I'm going to use this one. I actually think the first one was the best one.
For sure.
Gonna click download. It was working for me. And then I want to generate a trophy as well. So I'm going to do, show me, what do you think should be in the trophy? I obviously had a version with just like the football
Yeah.
cleat.
The cleat's super sick.
Right?
I think it's very on the nose. It's a survival guide. So it's like, you have to know the first thing is that they kick the ball. That's probably like the biggest part. So
Yeah.
you have to know that. So I like that being like the front and center.
Okay, awesome. So show me a vintage, you know what? I can just show us like what you know what? I'm going to do another one just to see what it generates because I like to know. I like to see
we
what's
have a
out
backup
there.
just in case.
Exactly, yeah. Okay, show me a vintage cleat as a trophy in black and white with halftone gradient treatment on an isolated background. Cool.
Nice.
Generate.
Yeah, because with these prompts, like I found that like obviously like the more descriptive the better. But even like getting like degrees of angle with the camera has also been like a game changer. Like you can like ask for specific like studio lighting or whatever. Haven't experimented with it too much, but I've talked to some people that do know a lot about this specific feature, and that's something that they love to say is that the more detailed, the better renders you can get.
That's super interesting. I've done that before with like show me studio lighting and like kind of things like that, but I think that's a 45-degree
cool.
angle, etc. Okay, one thing I didn't prompt, which I should have because I was just chatting away over here, was that I don't want any type or logos on this. Definitely something that I would recommend if you want to be using this. So I do like how vintage this is. This
Yeah.
is very also used, not only vintage, not preserved, just vintage. I think this is fun. And then this other one, kind of a similar vibe, kind of cool, kind of interesting. No logos.
Nice.
This one's a little more photorealistic.
Yeah.
Kind of
Looks
cool.
like it, yeah.
Yeah, so interesting stuff there. Unfortunately, I do like the one that I generated before. So I'm going to pull this one out and download this one because I think this one's really fun. I like that's a little more modern. Obviously, there's no text or logos on that, which I think is great. So we're going to go ahead and use those. One other thing I wanted to generate as well. I want to do some sort of like either like lined paper or like grid paper to have something that I think would just be a fun texture to have on this survival guide. So I'm going to do show me some lined grid paper in black and white with small, let's just try grid paper and see what it says.
Nice.
Generate. Very cool.
And let us know where you guys are watching from. Super excited to be bringing you all this soccer, football, whatever you want to call it, content today. All the games have been awesome. Like, all the energy's been great. So let us know where you're watching from, who you're supporting, and while we're waiting for this to generate. Little paper texture.
All right, we got a paper texture.
Oh, nice.
I don't want the angle though. Should have specified that. However, don't worry, chat. I got you. I have some previous options. Woohoo! Okay,
Nice.
I'm gonna download this one. This other one that I did was kind of cool too, so I might just re-download that one
That
too.
is tough, too.
Yeah, I can't be mad.
Nice.
Cool. We were just talking on the last stream, Carlos and I. We were talking about why is America the only one that says soccer? Do you have any insight?
I wish.
Okay.
I have no idea.
Super
but
fair.
honestly, getting bounced out like that, we'll have to call it what the world calls it because, we can't play.
That's
very
true.
well.
We are no longer on that card. Okay, I'm gonna drag these in here. I could just drag them all in at the same time. Let's be real. Amazing. I'm gonna just scale these down. Nothing exciting. If you're wondering, we are on a 17 by 11 horizontal. I'm thinking, enough space for us to really play around, get some stuff on here, and then fold these up and bring it with you. I don't know. Kind of what I'm thinking. If you're like a newspaper, you
Nice.
got options.
No, I like it.
Sizable. Okay, cool. So did I grab everything that I had? I think so. Let's find out. Okay.
Nice. Got some Riverside love in the chat.
Love it.
Love to see it. Shout out to IE. Right? The IE?
Nice.
Yeah. I'm new to California, so I'm learning all the lingo.
The SoCal, yeah. So fun. Okay, cool. So there is a new feature. You don't use Illustrator a whole ton, right?
Not a
Here
lot.
and there. Okay. Well, I'm about to blow your mind.
Okay.
Actually, as a Photoshop user, this may come a little bit more naturally to you.
I'm ready.
For a very long time, Illustrator did not have a remove background tool, which is something that is fabulous and really works great in Photoshop. The Illustrator team heard our cries. It is now available to you in Illustrator, which is a fabulous new update. So if you have any old image, you can drop it in here, and the button appears right in the top, which is kind of where you'd expect it to be. Remove background, and it's going to analyze this image for you, and then it's going to isolate it beautifully, I may say, and make your workflow a lot faster.
No way. What?
Right? So
That's crazy.
not something that we couldn't do before, but you'd have to jump into Photoshop,
Sure.
Export it, bring it back, add it to your library, however you want to, but,
Yeah.
and the programs partner with each other, which is great. However, to have features like this that I need actively as a designer at any time, so great to have that. So really big new feature, something that I love. I'm gonna try it on this one. It's a little bit more difficult. I feel like cutting out a white background with white in the image can get tricky, but I'm gonna give it a go and see what we got here. So we're gonna remove background again, and it does embed the file as well. Thank you.
Look at that. What?
Clean, so clean. Let's look at it. It looks great.
That's awesome.
Maybe a little halo, but I'm not mad about it as far as like everything else. I think the shape is great. Got this. I love the texture on this one. Look at
That's
that.
nice.
Delicious.
That's
Love
really
it.
nice.
And I'm gonna do this one as well, just for fun. Third time's a charm. Just gotta make sure that it works.
3 for 3. Let's see.
We said thank you. Remove background. It's been
Dang.
a game changer. Yeah, right.
Nice.
Maybe you'll come back to Illustrator. Maybe we'll just try it out. Why not?
Maybe.
I am, however, going to still kind of clipping mask this just to make it a little bit smaller, just because this image size is kind of big. So I'm going to draw a shape on top of it. I'm going to hold shift, click both, and do make clipping mask.
Nice.
I'm going to do the same thing to this one. That would be nice to have like an automated, it just like clips it closer.
Yeah.
Illustrator team, I'm so grateful. Don't worry, I'm still so happy with this feature, but just hear me out. Okay, and then I'm gonna use the trusty old pen tool by clicking P on my keyboard and kind of just like roughly clip around this guy. And this is just really to make sure that it's easier for me to work with and it's not taking up too much space on my artboard. So this is just how I run it and do it if you have your own way. Love that for you. Cool.
Nice.
So that's kind of not the closest clipping mask, let's be honest. Move this a little bit closer. Awesome. Cool.
Super cool.
So I have these. You know what? The gold one is cool too. That one's there. I removed the background on this one in Firefly Boards. Also great feature to use it there, but something about it being an Illustrator, I just want to show that off for you guys and let you appreciate the new feature. Okay. So we have everything on here. I have some terms, vocabulary off to the side here. I chose my fonts. Oh, I gotta just make sure my colors are here, and then we will be ready to cook. Where is my library? Unfortunately.
Oh no.
That's okay. Let's see. I was having some issues this morning with my cloud. Would you do me the pleasure of reading through the schedule for the day? Maybe Jacob can pull up our schedule slide, and I'm going to check really briefly to make sure that everything is logged
That'd
in
be
correctly.
great. Yeah, no, we already hit our first 2 streams of the day. We're now at our 11 p.m. Slot, our Stadium Survival Guide. After this, we got me and Carlos. We're hitting another part 2 of our first session that we did this morning, where we're going to be making 2 more graphics that kind of hit on a different type of design style. Again, the whole point is to learn how to deal with clients, how to translate their verbiage, and make that into actionable design steps and graphics. And then at 1 p.m. we have on the spot. So yeah, that's our schedule for today. Super stoked to have you guys with us. Yeah, looking at the chat again. Yeah, W remove tool. No, I love it. I think, for me, I'm not a Illustrator guru, so seeing someone like, be so fluent in this is a treat for me. So I love it. Let's say we have our colors back and ready to go.
We do have our colors. So I accidentally, when we were in or on the site, I did download an image version of it. So there's a bunch of different ways you can get your color palette. So I just dropped this in here. The hex codes are in there, so copy those over, and we are back in business. Not sure what's going on with my libraries, but you know, we're all having a Thursday today, and so all good. So I'm gonna delete this image now that I have my swatches here, so we're good to go there. So let's kind of envision this. And I made a little random mark here. Kind of envision this with a vertical fold in the middle. So I'm gonna imagine this is lay flat for now, and if we have time pending, we'll see how it goes. Maybe make this double-sided, but that's kind of the layout as I'm thinking about this. I feel like anytime you have a client project, there's always a lot of information, and you just wanna get it all in one place to make sure that, you know, we have a lay of the land, and you kind of start laying things out. So I'm going to bring in our title here. So I think this is gonna be, should we commit to soccer? I think we're just gonna commit to soccer.
I think so.
Okay, cool. And then I'm gonna do survival guide.
I think it's such a good idea too, because I've got 3 younger sisters, and you know, I've always been a big sports guy. So you know, watching games with them can get a little bit complicated when they're, you know, asking me, you know, what does this mean? What is this? Whatever. So getting a little survival guide, like that's the move. I think everyone should have this for all sports.
Okay, for all sports, guys. So maybe we'll make this editable. For now, this will be version 1. And then when this is just getting rave reviews online, everyone's just like demanding that we have the other sports, don't worry. I will do my research and get back to you. I think it's fun. This way you have a little something to, like, you know, help help yourself be a part of the atmosphere. I feel like there's nothing worse. Huh?
Yeah, I say it can get confusing. Like offside, are you kidding me? Like that is like the most like confusing thing in the world. I played soccer and I still sometimes don't even know.
Please do not expect by the end of the stream to understand offsides, because that may not happen. But a good reference.
Yeah.
I feel like there's nothing worse so than being at something and not being like a part of it. You're like, oh, everyone's cheering, but like, why? So hopefully this like closes that gap. Okay, so I thought a good way to sound like you're supposed to be there, or that you are fitting in, would be give you some phrases to help you just sound, you know, like I'm always at games. What do you mean?
Yeah.
So these are some ones that I thought that you could just say any time throughout, you know, try and be smart about it, but anytime throughout the match. So we have great vision on that pass. They need a response here, you know, for when there's a pass.
When they need a response,
When they need a response, you're so right. The keeper, guys, to be clear here, not a goalie, keeper, okay?
Keeper.
The keeper had to be alert there. Chaos in the
that.
box, which
That's
is...
a good one.
Is that, do people actually say that?
Yeah, I mean, yeah, for sure. And with the exclamation mark at the end, like it's like chaos in the box. Like, oh my gosh, like this is nuts.
That's exactly
so
what
like,
I was going for.
So you know, you're in it, excited with everyone else. It's awesome.
Cool. If you want to sound a little pretentious,
Oh my gosh.
that'll be reviewed, I'm sure. That would be kind of like, I don't know if the ref made the right call, you know?
That is funny.
Ooh, I love the sports. You know what, Josh? Great rec. I'm going to put that on here. I love sports. To be used at any time. That one you can really just sprinkle in whenever you want. And also, I feel like this could go either way. If you just want to be a little bit,
Neutral.
you know, that's the word I was looking for. Fabulous. Okay, cool. So I kind of chose like my primary font and my secondary font. I don't want either of these to be as special as this top one. So I'm going to kind of put this in, oh, it already is an active grotesque. Cool. Well, active grotesque, guys, you know, I'm always using it. I think it's just a great neutral typeface. Nice. It also is kind of a narrower width, which is something that I look for as I'm pairing fonts together. How much space are they taking up to make sure that they kind of family well?
Right.
Ref's been paid. Well, if you want to really...
I like that. That one's. I say that pretty frequently, you know, as a sports guru myself. So
Exactly. Okay. Well, if it's fair, it's fair then. I'm gonna space these out a little bit just so when you're reading these, it's a little easier on the eyes and a little more casual. You know what I'm thinking here. I think these need to be spaced out a little bit more.
No, I love these.
Okay, cool. I'm gonna try to just get everything on here as I'm writing these out. As like it could be fun to put these in like little speech bubbles.
I like that too.
All right, let's make it visual. Let's go for it. I have my mouse. We're ready to lock in. So let me come the period there. Very important. I am going to just draw some speech bubbles here. So just some quick rectangle tools, and then I'm just going to use like a little triangle here. We're not going to get fancy, guys. This is just casual.
It's nifty.
Yeah.
I like it.
Gonna here. We're gonna do some little like back and forth. This is not even. We're not gonna get too precious, guys. We're on a timeline.
Yeah,
what can you say? So I'm gonna copy this. I'm gonna merge these ones together. And why, you may ask? Oh, I could do them in color. Options. I'm gonna merge these so it's one path, and then I'm gonna turn this into outline so we kind of have like that little empty speech bubble.
Nice.
Okay, great vision on that pass.
I love that.
So ridiculous.
It's
so
great.
fun. Okay.
Andy said, I've said all of these. Yeah, I think I've said all of these too. I mean, this is just a great list. Just love to see it.
Thanks, guys. They say designers can't do it all, but maybe proving them wrong. What
I
can
mean,
I
they
say?
tell us to touch grass. You know, this is pretty close to it.
I was like, there gotta be a good joke there. Grass, the football, or
The pitch.
The pitch.
Yeah.
Don't worry, guys.
That's another one.
I have a vocab area. We will get there. Okay. Great vision on that pass. Okay. They need a response here. I think that one's funny. That
cool.
really sounds like you are the boss of the field. They need a
It's
response
like you're like an
here.
announcer.
Ah, that's
it's
so
like
true.
you are like the person to go to now when people are watching games. They're looking for you to give your commentary. Love it.
You guys, your commentary could be so good from just this reference sheet that they're gonna be like, oh, why don't you just come up here and give you the mic? You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? So beware. Be careful how smart you sound, you know? Okay, I'm gonna reflect this kind of just to give this little back and forth here. I'm doing a little bit of chaotic layout here of kind of, I'm not using text boxes. I'm kind of just doing this line by line. I know, it's crazy, guys, but that's okay. We're just here. I want this one to kind of make like a brick by brick layout here. So I'm gonna make this one a little bit longer and then merge this one like I did with the other ones. Turn into outlines. Let's do,
This is really good sports for Sam. I like that. This is really good sports.
okay, cool.
Shout out sports.
Shout out sports. I feel like this could go either way. We're just gonna do this one. Oof, that is close to the edges there. I don't know if we can justify this one. You know what? Hold on. We're just gonna do this one as a big one. I really want to highlight this one, and you know, isn't typesetting all about what you want to highlight? You know, so that one I really want people don't miss that one.
I like that a lot.
Okay, I'm gonna bring these ones, and then I'm gonna reflect these ones just to give some variety here. So I'm gonna right-click these, transform, reflect, and we are gonna go hamburger, hot dog, whatever. Horizontal, so hamburger. We're gonna reflect up.
Lunchtime.
So true. If you click preview, you can see where this is going, and that way it kind of just breaks it up a little bit here. All right. Let's see. What do we not have? The keeper had to be alert there.
Nice.
Cool. That, I don't know if I've ever said that. Don't know if I ever will. But you know what? I think that would be the most stressful job.
Yeah, it's a lot of pressure back there. You know, I played goalie in, it was like a pickup game a couple weeks ago.
Okay.
And I've always like thought like I'm pretty nimble, pretty athletic.
Yeah.
I think I let up like 6 goals, so that was that was rough. But you know, sometimes it's not meant for people like me. So
I just feel like you're up against like the worst case scenario,
Yeah.
right? Like someone has a clear path directly, especially like a penalty. Like good luck. Like,
Yeah.
I want to know
Seriously.
the ratio on that one. How many penalties can they actually block?
I don't know. Let's look it up. I'm curious.
All right, thank you. What a great host.
How many
Fact checking is always what I put
penalties
the host up to.
Get
Okay.
saved.
Chaos in the box. I'm gonna reflect this one again.
11 to 16% in a game get blocked. So about 75 to 85% are scored.
That's not a good ratio.
You would think. I mean, they're like right there.
Yeah.
But, you know,
Wait, yeah. Oh wait, hold on.
they score 75 to 85% of the time.
Okay, yeah. So
they
like
get saved 11 to 16.
more than likely.
Yeah.
So if you're a keeper, you only have up to a 16% success rate.
Yeah, I guess.
an
Unless you save it, then it's
interesting-
100%. So, but yeah, that's nuts. But like some of the best players in the world, like that's their Achilles heel is not being able to score penalties. That's like me. You know, I'm not a penalty guy. I don't step up to the spot.
You're like, actually, anyone else would like.
No, I get nervous.
Wait, do you choose?
I mean, you can. It depends.
Really?
Yeah, like you can get fouled and then
Someone else can do it for you?
Yeah, that's what a lot of teams do.
That doesn't.
Especially if people are trying to like win like what they call like a golden boot, so the person who's like scores the most in a tournament.
A golden boot?
A golden boot. There it is.
We'll come back to that.
If you're trying to like have your player on your team like get the golden boot or score the most goals,
Yeah.
you'll get a penalty, and then I'll have you take it if you're in contention for the golden boot. So it's a little gamesmanship or something like that.
How does that start? That seems like. I don't know. It seems like loading the deck in some ways.
I mean,
you know what I'm
sort
saying?
of. And it's always funny when they do that and the player misses. I know one of the best players in the world that happened to twice in this global tournament that we're watching. So it's always interesting. But those penalties, man, like everyone, all the eyes are on you, and oh my gosh, it's like my worst nightmare.
That's
but,
like I think it's like public speaking and then probably
Yeah.
that are like the top stress.
I would be
streams.
inverted. I'm more happy to public speak than take a penalty. No, thank you. I'm
well,
good.
especially if we're not professional football players, that would be a real extra pressure.
This is true. This is true.
I bumped up the line weight a little bit. I'm also bumping up the text weight a little bit. I feel like
Nice.
it would just go better. It is kind of driving me. Oh, cool. I missed that one. That's awesome. These aren't really that even. You know what, guys? We're starting the survival
I like
guide.
it though.
I think it's fine. Okay, cool. So we have our little little moment here. What do we want to call this? I feel like this could be like key phrases.
Should call on Carl Andrew for the penalties. Yeah,
Absolutely.
I think we're gonna do that.
I saw his stat card, and
Yeah, that's
penalties
true.
was up there.
What
So
do you have? 150 goals or something?
you know, yes, so many.
150 goals, 67 celebrations, five assists. So he's not he doesn't spread the ball around. You know, he's a killer in the box.
Oh, is that what that means?
Chaos in the box.
Chaos in the box.
Yeah. When
Love
Carl
it.
Andrews steps on the pitch.
Chaos in the box. I learned what chaos in the box means. There is. Wait, did I ever say this? I'm not sure. I'm going to say it again in case you weren't listening. In the goalie box, which we're going to draw a diagram next of the field so you know what we're talking about. If the ball's just really pinging around in there, chaos in the box is the
Chaos
right
in the
time to
box.
say that, okay? Cool. So speaking of, let's draw the pitch. Notice I'm saying pitch.
Pitch.
And not field.
Just like good lingo. Like,
Why?
You know, like we cannot be making a survival guide if we don't already know the lingo ourselves. So like,
Yep.
following Emily's lead here. I love it.
Yeah, I actually am a soccer announcer, so, you know, watch out, guys. Cool.
Carl Chaos in the Box Andrew. That must be his nickname. I love
Really
it.
rolls off the tongue.
Yeah.
Okay, so we have our midline. Center field.
Yeah.
What's the right term here?
I don't really know.
All right, guys, if you know, let us know. These are also going to be approximate. This is not to scale, so just know that in your hearts and souls that this is not to scale. Okay, one other thing I'm going to do here, which is fabulous and also new to Illustrator, align center. Something, again, designers have been crying and hoping for. It was one of those things that when it happened in Illustrator, you thought, how has this not been here my whole life? Which is how you always know it's a great new feature add. Align center is going to do exactly as it says, horizontal and vertical align center. I'm going to make sure that I'm aligned to selection, which is perfect, and now it's going to automatically bring all that together. It saves us a whole click, which doesn't sound like a lot, but when you're really working fast, this is going to be game changing.
Nice. Clicks that up for sure. That's sick.
Do you wish that that was in Photoshop?
Yeah. I mean, I'm always trying to save clicks. You know, for me, like I've got so many shortcuts and stuff on my end, and actions and scripts and stuff like that. So anything that like quickens up the workflow,
Right?
I mean, I'm always game for.
I always just get excited when you see a cool feature launch in another program. You're like, ooh, I really hope that one comes over to my program. So
Super neat.
I always like to just put it out there. You never know who's watching. You never know what's going on. So, you know, someone with the power to do something, do that. Okay, so these are getting in the keeper territory, the goal area. This, I believe, is the goal box. And then there's like another little half circle thing.
Yes.
Is it equitable is it the same size as this one?
Ooh, that's a good
You know what? I
question.
think I lied. I think it matches this width, and then I think it's only like there. I think it like.
That's beautiful.
Do you mind
like
pulling up a
proportions.
reference
Yeah,
just right there?
let's see.
Thank you.
Soccer pitch.
Yeah.
The right lingo.
As long as you're using the right lingo, you should find it.
Let's see. Does this help you?
Yes, fabulous. Yeah, I think it is. It's pretty close. I think
Yeah.
that's right. Cool. So we're gonna like pull this back a little bit. What that is, I don't know. Is that where your penalty kick from? No.
No, there's a spot in between what they call the 6-yard box and then the 18-yard box, like right in between there. That's where you take the penalty.
This one needs to be way smaller from what I'm seeing here.
Yeah.
Oh, and then the goal sits on the end.
Mm-hmm.
Got ya. Okay, cool. Oh, hello.
Looks pretty good.
All right,
I'm
thank
liking
you.
it. I'm liking it.
You wouldn't even know that. This
I
is
mean,
not
it's real. I mean, to me, this is like the greatest pitch ever made. I love it.
fabulous.
Field of Dreams or something like that.
Is that what?
I don't know. I think it's like a movie or something.
There's so many like phrases around soccer. I didn't know that it's considered the most beautiful game.
I mean, it's gorgeous for sure. The most beautiful.
It just seems like a big assumption to say. I just kind of.
It is. It's pretty sweeping.
Sweeping is the right word. I made the other side a little bit bigger. Now I've like put all of this off center, so don't love that. Oh, I actually was pretty close.
I'd say it's pretty.
All right, hold on. I'm just gonna bring this guy back, and then I'm gonna select all here because I was kind of just building it chaotically. And align all of that. I'm gonna hit Command G to group all these little guys, and now we have our little diagram. I think this is going to be helpful for you as you're just like orienting yourself with the layout of the field and where you are, so you can kind of just track everything. I think this could be a great place to make little notes as you learn stuff, as you hear things. Could be a good time.
Super accurate.
Okay. As I'm looking at this, I'm building at a really big scale, so I'm gonna like scale all this down. Whoops, let me grab this. Scale all this down a little bit to kind of keep room for building. so we can keep this moving forward. So I'm gonna just tuck this up here. I think this will be good.
I like that.
One thing that is really important, we're gonna do team name. And I'm gonna do a little line. This is gonna be like the little fill-in portion, so you can like kind of, do I want this underlined version? Maybe not. Let's just do normal. Do a little line for us here. Cool. Chat, if you have any suggestions of what you would need on the survival guide, you let us know, okay?
Yeah, love to see it. Field of Dreams is a baseball movie. That sounds about right.
All right. Yeah.
I might have got my sports mixed up. There you go.
It happens more than you think, yeah?
I mean, survival guide, that's what I need it for. I might need one for baseball.
Okay, team name. Do I land this here? I kind of want to up. I'm going to just kind of work this through as we're like going here. I like that too. So team name maybe here. I also want to do, let me do this. Whoa, did not group the circle? No, did. Just circle so central that it looked like it was not moving.
Nice.
Very cool. I want to do kind of like a final score box, but I kind of want to make it look, I'm going to reference my mind reference as well and do kind of like final score. What does the scoreboard look like here? I think kind of, let's do final score.
Scoreboard, let's see. We got some options here.
Okay.
And if you're just joining us, guys, Emily is here making a soccer survival guide. So for those of you that are new to soccer or are trying to keep up with all the stuff going on, this is a little bit of a helpful tool to be able to do that. Excited to be bringing this to you guys. She's been doing a killer job. Love to see it. So let us know if, like Emily said, if there's anything you guys want to see on this survival guide, anything you guys want to know, soccer terms, soccer lingo, we'll make sure to include it. But it looks good so far.
I'm glad to hear it. Okay, cool. So we have our team name here. So fill in core team. I'm kind of leaving this blank right here. I'm kind of envisioning like this is where you write in each team side, so you kind of know like what the score is like that. We could probably like continue this down and do like, let me make these the same size. Let me not be too chaotic in the box and make sure that these are at least somewhat equitable here.
Love
cool.
The callback.
Try. Okay, cool. I'm gonna line these guys. I wonder if maybe we want to do like, don't they do stats on like goal attempts, fouls, like stuff like that maybe?
Yeah, they do.
Okay.
Try to find something for that. They more times than not, they'll have something at the end of a game or at halftime where they'll have the player name and they'll have the minute they scored in, which is always a helpful thing to kind of keep track of.
Okay, let's do, I like this. Okay, let's do a little section here that's going to be like game stats. Nice. I'm also utilizing, if you are wondering how I'm getting those little, let me zoom in on this for you. This is how the font is, which I think is super fun. I want this to be more of a bounding box, so I'm just going to add an extra space here and kind of leverage how this font functions to add a little bit more padding on the end. So work smarter, you know? What can I say?
I love that.
Okay, game stats. Excuse me.
Love it. Love it.
Game stats. Oh, this is so big. I'm working at such a big scale, and I really shouldn't be. Okay, team name. Let's give some more space here. Cool. Let me get the line. Hello. Okay. Team name, final score, and then we're gonna do, I have my mouse on, I forget that I have my mouse. We're gonna do, what did I say? Goals.
Yeah.
Okay, and then this will be a place where you could write in like player's name, goal.
Sure.
And maybe like the time markers that you were suggesting, right? Okay, cool.
I think it'd be cool, like if you're able to write down your yellow card counter, because that's always a big thing.
Okay,
if people get suspended or anything like that, it's brutal. But gotta keep track of it.
I'm gonna do a little shortcut for us here. I'm not drawing too many lines, but just a good shortcut to always know. So I have 2 lines selected. I'm gonna highlight both, and then I'm gonna go to Object. I'm gonna go to Blend and Make. You're gonna say, nice. What did you do? I'm gonna fix this though because I want specified steps. So come back to Blend Options. I'm gonna choose specified steps, and then 85 is definitely too many. I want these to be lines that you can fill in. So I'm gonna do like 4, and let's see how that looks for us. Cool. I think maybe 3. So what Illustrator is doing there is saying, okay, I took your first shape, I took your last shape, and you want 3 instances of that to appear in between. You can do this with lines, you can do this with shapes, you can do this with all sorts of things. Really helpful in illustration and or laying out repetitive items like this.
Super cool.
Gets your spacing going, groups them together, very cool stuff. Cool. Goal, here, let's do goal on this side, and then do like time, maybe.
Yeah.
And then maybe we'll just do like time. And then I'm going to, I feel like some of these players' names are super long, so this may not be enough space, but I'm gonna pull this one over and then kind of just shrink it back over. And once again, we're realizing that everything is too big, so we're gonna scale this down a little bit, and that's okay because this is our personal survival guide.
Yeah.
So maybe I'm gonna kind of like align these to how we want to figure this out. I feel like that's about even. So let's like align these guys together and kind of drag it over here as well.
Nice.
Okay, got some good stats. I feel like this is already gonna keep me engaged with
that's great.
what's going on. Okay, and you said fouls?
Yeah, like, you know, people get yellow cards and red cards and stuff like that. And once you get a red card in soccer, obviously the players removed from the game cannot come back. So that puts you at a supreme disadvantage.
Supreme.
So that's always good to keep track of.
Okay, and do you do these individually, like time and...
Yeah, kind of similar to
Okay.
goals. Yeah, kind of similar to goals.
Okay, fouls. I guess goals. Goals, time, fouls, time.
Love it.
I feel like this is looking good. Okay,
That's
cool.
awesome.
I am noticing we only have about 15 minutes left, so we're gonna keep going here.
Yeah, I love it.
Key phrases, good. I'm gonna use my eyedropper tool to select this to make sure that my font is the same size. Again, kind of just making this as we go, so trying to make sure that everything is, you know, sizing correctly and laying out. The more information, you know, it gets relative, so you just gotta make sure that everything is working out. Cool, survival guide, key phrases, these are all really close together, but for the essence of time is what it is for now. You know what I'm thinking? I have two kind of like illustration portions, so these may go on the back.
Okay.
I'm going to jump over to more
Two-sided.
text and let's see how we're feeling, and then we can kind of keep going from there.
Nice.
So you've been saying some key phrases,
Yes.
and some of these are here. This is going to be a vocab reference for you guys. So I'm
love
going
that.
to draw a little rectangle for us. I'm going to kind of match, I guess we're getting 2 columns, and that's kind of working for us.
Mm-hmm.
So turn this back into an outline as well.
This is cool for me too, because, you know, from a designer standpoint, obviously, like, a lot of the work that I do is more like sports graphic, like posters and stuff like that, but actually laying it out and making sure information is legible and people can locate, you know, different verbs or different phrases here. Like that's its own type of design style in and of itself. So it's a super cool thing to be seeing happening live, which is awesome. I love that.
Cool. Yeah, it is cool. I feel like on Adobe Live, it's like, oh, you just get to sit and like watch someone else do
Yeah.
it, and like that's a rare
cool.
thing to like hang out and do. Something that's interesting that I learned recently, which probably a lot of people know, I didn't. Corners are pre-built into Illustrator. Some options are, so you can come in here and go ahead and click what kind of corner you want. I want kind of this like. Oh, I need to choose the size. I want kind of this like
Nice.
indent cut out. I've always done this manually, and I found out recently that you don't have to live that life. So I just want to showcase that here and kind of point out this fun little feature. It gives it a
shocked.
little, right?
It's super cool. Yeah, I didn't
know
that.
it's the small things that really change it up. Okay, so I'm kind of envisioning, and this would have been a little bit easier to do maybe in what's it called in design, which I kind of was like, maybe I should have switched over. But I kind of want to do like a smaller font afterward, kind of to give that like definition type vibe.
Sure.
So I'm gonna go ahead and make some of these smaller just using Eyedropper. Oh, that one was not that. So let me highlight this one as well. And again, there's definitely a lot of ways that we could have formatted these, but I think this is kind of just the faster format and kind of the layout that I want to lock in. So
Sure.
this is also gonna save us a little bit of space, which is great.
Nutmeg, I like that.
Yeah, do you wanna?
Yeah, making someone. So that's basically when you pass the ball through their legs and receive it on the other end after getting it through their legs. It's probably one of the most embarrassing things to have happen to you in soccer. So every time like I try to defend somebody when I was playing, like I was always kind of like keep my legs closer together so no
Don't
one
do
can
it.
beg me, because it is really embarrassing and like people will not let you hear the end of it. So if you can avoid it at all costs. Please don't.
Don't
Please
let
get
this
mad.
happen to you. Okay,
I had no idea Eyedropper can copy text like that. Yeah,
what can't it do?
it's super sick.
Okay, stoppage time. Do you want to give us a brief?
Yeah, so stoppage time is one of those things where, you know, the powers that be decide, you know, how long the game should go extra, and the powers that be are very opaque in their figuring out how much time gets added. But basically, a game is 45-minute halves, and at the end of each half, there's an extra what's called stoppage time, which is added on to basically account for the stoppages in play that happen throughout the first 45 minutes of that half. So if the ball goes out for a throw-in or someone scores a goal, someone scores a goal, they celebrate for 2 minutes, that gets added onto the stoppage time that comes at the end of the half. So, but at this, tournament and tournaments that we've seen over the past couple of years, stoppage time has become, we started at like 2-3 minutes stoppage time to now like 10-15 minutes.
It's a lot.
It's crazy.
Okay.
It's crazy.
So it's not just me then.
No, it's long.
at the end, they're like, and here's 10 more minutes. I was like, imagine you're like, oh, we
Yeah.
won it. Oh, and here's 10 more minutes. Like, that's crazy to me. I'm not built for that. Okay, yeah. At the end of Adobe Live, we will be
Yeah,
going 10
stoppage
more
time,
minutes.
yeah.
So for stoppage time, for all those
It's like
chats
a
we
cooldown
read.
period.
Okay, cool. These are my things I wanted to make sure that were on here. Team name, good. Goal counter, on there, good. Phrase, jersey, pitch diagram, great. We're cooking. Okay.
Nice.
This is working out then. I think we're gonna stay one-sided. I'm gonna bring my pitch diagram back in. This is actually working out great,
You're kidding.
right?
This is sick.
You're kidding. It lined up. We doubted. I doubted. But we're
I
here.
trusted it. I trusted the process. I just knew. I saw it happening in front of
You're
my eyes. I
like,
loved it.
I've never seen her design before, but
Yeah.
I trust.
No,
that
no
this
stoppage time needed. We're good to get it in time. I love it.
Okay, cool. Key phrases. So we're gonna bring this over. We're gonna say pitch. Oh, I forgot my space. Pitch diagram.
Nice.
Another one that I think is important. We're gonna visit right now. If you were saying soccer uniform, stop that. Tell us what's the right word for this.
It's a kit. You know, it's everyone says uniform. Uniform is so like professional. Kit is like, you know, it's just like, it's just another game to you. It's my kit. It's my uni. It's what I'm wearing. You know, so I think this is actually super sick. I like having that. It's a good little addition. Because especially if you're like bored or like in stoppage time when it gets really, you know, when the game gets too long, you can like start drawing on the kits. And you know, for us like artistic folk, like that's always a nice thing to be doing.
Yeah.
See, the chat is bumping. We got you have to enable it if it's not working for you, Ethan Palo. That was the eyedropper comment earlier. Double click on the eyedropper to see everything it can do.
I just did that. Would you
Yeah.
look at that, guys? We got
Yeah.
lots of things here. We got fill, stroke, character style, paragraph style.
Wow.
Yeah, it's a handy tool. I
That's crazy.
would fear that these are the default settings because I don't think I've ever opened this panel. I just kind of learned what it could do and just follow that. Don't know what I just changed there. Oh, I changed the drop down. Okay, cool. Anyhow, eyedropper is really great. I use it religiously and probably rely on it too much. So
I like that.
up to you. I want to do the back of.
Oh, nice.
Or, sorry,
Yeah,
I want to
cool.
create the back of it. So I'm just gonna remove the collar and kind of just do a straight across maybe because it's straight across on that side. So or maybe actually you should stay lifted because you would see the back of that. So let's do like
Cool.
this. Delete this out and then we'll kind of just do a little connect the dots here. Hello, where's my pin? Normally it will show you your connect. All right, it doesn't want to. That's fine. We're in our final stretch here, so we're just gonna leave this
We're
as
making it happen.
an unfilled shape, and I'm okay with that because this is a coloring in, so I will not be coloring it in, so that's fine for me.
Yep.
I'm gonna kind of layer these front and back, so I'm gonna cut off a little bit of it. Also, you were saying, you know, as a designer or creative folk, you're like, would like a little something like that to
Yeah.
do. There's also been a few kits that we were watching a game yesterday. Can't say what game, but we were watching a game, and I wasn't a fan of the away jersey. So you know, I thought, let me take this into my own hands. You know,
You can do like a little bit of a redesign. That's always
yeah,
fun. You know,
got some time to
it's
kill.
like, you know, the uniform is not quite my style. Let me adjust, change a few things here and there, and there you go. By the end of the game, you got a new jersey. You can submit it. Maybe the next game they'll wear it.
Yeah, not that the teams need more people telling them what to do. I feel like they get a lot of that, but you know, sometimes you just like keep it to yourself. Try it on your
No
thing.
harm
You
in
know, it'll be
it. No
fine.
harm in it.
Okay, I think for the shorts, should we do it? Yeah, I got time. These will actually just be the same. I think they would be the same front and back, right?
Yeah, I think so.
All right, we are getting a little tight here, but that's okay.
No, but looks great though.
Why is my click drag not wanting to work? Cool. I thought this would just be fun. Another big thing for soccer or football is scarves. Like that's a really big
Yeah.
team thing. If we had more space, I think we could do it. But I'm gonna like overlap all of these, and I'm just using my scissor tool to cut line segments that are overlapping and deleting those manually. You could do something like intertwine tool and kind of remove those that way, but just kind of the regular workflow. And this is to get that layered dimension working for us here, so you're not getting confused by any lines or anything like that.
Nice.
All right, gonna cut here. Wait, was I cutting? I was cutting the back one. Okay, and then gonna cut down here as well.
That's sick. And we're coming up on about 5 minutes. If you guys have any questions for Emily about this this guide or any questions about soccer, I'm here to answer that. Anything about the format and the design, Emily is the go-to. So drop it in. We're coming up on about 5 minutes left. So thank you guys for being with us today. Love it.
Should we say team kit?
Team kit, yeah, that works well.
Yeah. Okay. Cool. I'm wondering. I may just kind of. Wow, I'm making up all sorts of rules right here. I'm gonna again use my magic spacing tool to get those extra lines there. Again, saving me time.
Just fits so
Yeah,
well.
right.
Love
It's cute like that. Okay, I think everything's on here that I was hoping for. So now we can do a little coloring. I think could be a fun way to do this. So let's do, oh, I didn't even use my images yet. Rats. Okay, no worries. I'm gonna drag this over. I'm gonna do like I have a color printer and I don't have a color printer version for all my friends who are at home. Right, okay, so using our really fun color palette, let's go ahead and throw some interesting color blocks on here. So for the things that should be colored, like you were gonna color them in, we're gonna leave those out. So maybe I might, thinking columns for sure. So let's do a little, let's do this. I'm gonna eyedropper, once again, the eyedropper, living her best life. All right, I'm gonna send this to the back. I'm going to go ahead, let's see. I'm gonna use my direct select tool to select, which is A if you're looking for the shortcut. All of these guys, I'm gonna give them a white fill. Cool. I had some text fall behind, no worries. I can do these, use command bracket, send them to the back, get those looking good. I'm gonna also fill this one, give a little white fill here. Again, I'm gonna do, because this is a group, right click, oh, it is not a group. I'm gonna click here, arrange, send it back. Awesome.
There we go.
Should this be centered? Is this like ugly like that? No? Okay.
I think yeah, it was good.
There's other formatting we could and maybe want to do there, but it's what it is for now. Okay, now that we have this, I'm gonna center everything on here. So Command G, oh, these are not centered to begin with, hold on.
But I like getting the color in there. I think that's always a good option to have.
A little more fun. How am I doing? All right, 4 minutes. And this is where it can all fall apart if I get off track. Okay, I want to align to an object. So fast way to do that, select everything that you want, double click on the object that you want to align to, and then hit this one and it'll align it without moving your little rectangle or object around, because sometimes that can happen. Because this is its own bounding box now, I'm okay if it kind of comes up a little bit higher on this side. So let's do that. I also want another light color to go on this other side. So I'm gonna use this red and I'm gonna get a shade of this red. I'm a big fan of this color, not swatches, this one. Double click on this, it's gonna bring up your shades and tints. A fast way to make sure that you're staying within the same color value. Cool. Grabbing my rectangle, Option Shift Drag, gonna drag it over to the other side, and then I'm going to go ahead and just kind of click this lighter one. I have a lot of darker colors in the color palette, and that just can get tricky if you're trying to have someone write this in.
For sure.
Have I made the French flag now? Maybe. I don't know.
Perhaps. Who knows?
Accidental, if anyone's asking. It is more so just the colors we chose. Sorry. Okay, I'm going to highlight all of this. I think these are all grouped. Let's see. Shift highlight, aligning to the key object. That looks great. Okay, I can't have this looking like this. Okay, let's do, let's bring these in a little bit maybe. Or for the sake of time, oh, what am I doing? We may have to like just let it be, but we will see. We'll fight to the end here.
It's looking good.
Okay. I feel like if I bring this away from the edge, it's gonna get it away from looking a little flag-like. Now it looks a little more bounding box. Yeah. Okay, cool. So let's click this guy. I think this is good. So, you know, there is more we could do with color, but I think this is fun for now. Maybe we make these blue. Could be fun. And then I need to wrap this up. Okay.
I mean, it looks great.
Yeah?
As someone who knows about soccer, I know that this kind of hits all the main points that I would want to be trying to make sure someone knows if they haven't really watched that much. But no, I think it looks awesome.
Let's go with red. I think this is fun.
Yeah.
All right, chat. We have 1 minute left. Let me give you a quick rundown of what we did. So we started off actually in fonts, chose some fun fonts, had a good time, added to the library, chose some good colors, added that to our library, also downloaded another version of it just to have it on deck. Then we generated, I didn't even use my graph paper, shoot. Well, more fun to be had. Generated some images, brought those back into Illustrator, showed how to use background remove because that's a really exciting new feature that we have. Oh, let me go back to Illustrator. Did some fun text layout, got some vocab, some key phrases, some coloring stuff for you to have a good time. If you're a little bored, need a little doodling time, that is there for you, as well as having kind of the stats place to reflect of what actually happened. And I was there for these moments, you know, really exciting stuff. So I hope you had a good time. I hope that you have learned something and that hopefully you are ready to watch the big soccer game that's happening sometime soon, maybe this weekend.
Yeah.
But as always, appreciate you tuning in. And Jorge, amazing host. Thank you so much.
Of course, I'll be here in about five more minutes. Going to be doing a second part to our stream that we started this morning, making 2 more graphics that fit that soccer theme. So super stoked for that. Excited to see you guys there.
Cool. All right. Well, stick around, guys. We'll be back very, very shortly.
My name is Caitlin Wong. I go by Caitlin Wong Design, and I've been a graphic designer for 4 years. Today, I'm going to be going over my Adobe journal design that I designed for the Adobe apprenticeship, which I actually got to partner with Tyler Pate on for creative direction. And yeah, I'm so excited to show everyone. I'm using Adobe moodboards, which has been a huge help for me, just kind of organizing kind of the overview of my projects and the flow of it. Adobe moodboards creates these really nice categorized albums, which is great for me. So this is the project overview. The need was a notebook designed for partner boxes. So I started doing some research. So what was really cool was I wanted to do 3 different kinds of color, mood boards for my color palette and color swatches. And it was cool because you could literally just drag and My name is Caitlin Wong. I go by Caitlin Wong Design, and I've been a graphic designer for 4 years. Today, I'm going to be going over my Adobe journal design that I designed for the Adobe apprenticeship, which I actually got to partner with Tyler Pate on for creative direction. And yeah, I'm so excited to show everyone. I'm using Adobe moodboards, which has been a huge help for me, just kind of organizing kind of the overview of my projects and the flow of it. Adobe moodboards creates these really nice categorized albums, which is great for me. So this is the project overview. The need was a notebook designed for partner boxes. So I started doing some research. So what was really cool was I wanted to do 3 different kinds of color, mood boards for my color palette and color swatches. And it was cool because you could literally just drag and drop and just pin a color. So I kind of took a lot of inspiration from all these colors and made a bunch of different mood boards.
That's why I love Firefly Boards. I really don't know what my life was like for ideation before Firefly Boards, because the fact that it's an infinite canvas,
Yes.
drag and drop imagery, it doesn't bog down your computer, it lets you have high-res images, and the fact that you can have all these color swatches and view them so close to each other next to your mood board is...
This has been a huge help for my creative flow. Just really nice to just have everything in one place. So I started my Illustrator file, and obviously before even touching my computer, something I love to do is just go straight to sketching. Once I get all my digital ideas, I love to just kind of sit down, kind of take in what I want to design and what message I'm trying to convey into my designs. I want to tell a story, and that's what we are as designers, is we're storytellers. So I wanted to really play around with the different kind of styles that I could do for my creative flow, and we ended up landing on a more kind of textile pattern design, and which was great because it actually allowed me to kind of think about what I wanted to put in the little boxes. And that is how we got here. This was the final design. I kind of want to just show how I created each part and worked through it. Here are my small pattern icons that I wanted to make. So this one was really fun because if we ungroup it, it's kind of just a bunch of tiny little triangles that I kind of grouped together. And what's fun with this is you could literally just try so many different styles using these. So this is the one that I ended up going with. And I said it kind of looked like a little fan, but instantly could switch it up and make this kind of style of square. And it was just really fun to play around with all the different kind of styles that I could make using just simple shapes. There's some other things that I wanted to just show that I designed, which was same size squares as these patterns, but it was just different versions of the Adobe icons. Well, when I'm designing, I'm using Adobe, and what are some tools that I use the most? And I was like, okay, this is it. Put them all into fun little icons, colorize them, and I was kind of just going for this red and yellow themed with the pink, which was a part of color mood board that I wanted to do. And once I had all of my smaller assets and just like what was going to make up the base of the journal done, I just kind of put off those to the side and obviously colorized every single one using the color theme. Once I was done with the base of the journal, I went ahead and made this kind of cutout of just my desk space. So I didn't want it to be too much patterns and design going on. I kind of wanted that to be simple. So I have my table, kind of this cutout of what it looks like in my brain, kind of plopped my little figure in the middle, and then took my little lamp flower icon and just like arranged that there and put that there.
Yep.
And just kind of built this fun little setting of what it would look like of my mind when it was designing.
I love it.
Yes!
Thank you for tuning in.
Yeah.
Till next time.
Till next time.
Welcome back to Adobe Live. My name is Carlos Andres, and we are here with Jorge Ramirez, or Jorge, last name
Rodriguez.
Ramirez.
There you go.
That's so crazy. We're so glad that you're here, that you're tuning in. We're going to continue building some great graphics. So, Jorge, tell us what we
Yeah,
making.
super stoked. So the first stream that we did earlier this morning, this was working on a graphic. I'll pull up here just to kind of familiarize you guys from where we were at. So this is what we had, and basically what we're trying to do is take a client brief and be able to translate it out into 3 different pieces to kind of just like, mimic the cadence of what I would typically do when I'm working with someone, wanting to make sure that they're seeing all these options and helping us decide what we're gonna do to move forward with a set of creative direction. So this is what we had. This is where we ended up last stream. We're done with this piece, so this kind of fits that modern, sleek aesthetic that we were going for, and translated that into some graphics here with gradients and a little bit of an active player here. But our next 2 are going to be really neat. So if we go back to our design translation here, we can see design 2 was supposed to be gritty, textured, and branded. And so we won't hit design 3 yet. We're just going to focus on design 2 for right now. But the way as a designer, like I interpret that is gritty, textured. I think of off-white backgrounds. I think of like halftones and stuff like that. And then branded. I think this is something that gets asked for pretty frequently with people that I work for. Branding things is it's a delicate balance, right? Because you don't want to overdo it. You don't want to just put your logo, slap it on everything, because then it feels lazy and it feels like it's not designed well. But finding a way to still elevate the brand, still show the brand in your piece while also not making it feel overwhelming, I think is an interesting balance that we try to strike, and something that I think we're going to talk about today. But yeah, looking at the other translations, textured backgrounds, off-white backgrounds, make it grainy. I think grain is like a huge way to make something feel like it's gritty and that it's, very, what's the word? Like textured, I guess. Yeah. So, look at me using the design lingo that I'm telling, that the clients will use, but it's sometimes it's the easiest way to describe things. And then, we said here also like make the player black and white. And so to highlight more branded elements, it does help to have the player sort of blend into the background a little bit and kind of feel like it's more of a part of the total design environment we're building, just as a way to make the logos feel like they're being highlighted and shown in a higher capacity than they normally would. So that's where we're going to be starting, and I have a little bit of some inspiration here. So that gritty, textured, branded feel. Was thinking about incorporating some paper rips. I think that's always something that you see a lot with a lot of these very textured backgrounds. I love to try to find different ways to include it. And then there was a lot of like color blocking here, which I thought was interesting. These were taken from Adobe stock, so I thought these were kind of interesting, very editorial. I don't know if we're going to get that editorial, but I think the hits of color were a really nice touch. So we're going to try to find different ways to be able to do that. And then this like sort of concrete, gritty background, also from Adobe stock, this one was. And so letting that sort of be the guide for sort of the type of feel and style that we want to incorporate in our graphic. Then obviously the best skyline in the United States, probably the world, Dallas skyline, beautiful. Just seeing it gets me nostalgic. I'm a Dallas native. If you missed the first stream, this is a very Dallas heavy stream where I'm from, my family's from. So anytime I get to incorporate that into my work, I'm always down for it. Yeah, I actually did not go to school on a horse. That's contrary to popular belief. But yeah, so this is where we're at with this piece, kind of getting together those inspiration pieces as well. So let's hop into Photoshop. Let's get rolling. I'm super stoked. So let me go ahead and make another artboard here. and still starting with the same sort of situation here, starting with a color fill just for our background, just to make sure that we're keeping to our brand colors. That was something that we said throughout the last stream that was really important, because we want to make sure that in pretty much every way that we can, we're able to kind of keep to the brand that we're working with. With pieces like this, they're more times than not more highly visible. So you want to make sure that if someone's seeing this and say, for example, it goes viral and this graphic goes everywhere, if people don't know what team to credit it to, you kind of get all this virality, but it doesn't turn into anything substantial for your brand. So thinking kind of ahead of wanting to make sure we're inserting these different touch points wherever we can is always super great. So we have our background here, and I think we're first going to start with how we started with all of these, which is finding our player. So we have a lot of different options here. I was shouting out the photographer in our last stream, just like all of the vibes are immaculate here. And I think the one that I really like, I'm between these two for this piece. I had you pick last time, so I'll have you pick this time what you're wanting to go with.
Bro, I like that one.
This one?
This one. Right
this
here.
one. Okay,
Yes.
yeah. This one, you can tell bro is playing for the badge. Like he's loving that he's a part of the Dallas Bandits. So yeah, that's our team that we're working with, the Dallas Bandits. It is a made up brand direction that we're going with. Just to kind of quickly recap all the marks. We didn't make this in the first stream. This is all pre-made, all kind of from this initial Bandits logo that we found on Adobe stock. And from that, we were able to kind of pull some really cool design elements, really cool colors. And then these brand tag marks were also like a really nice thing that we're going to be incorporating throughout the next two pieces. And these also, I might find a way to incorporate these. I kept them just in case, but all these like hand-drawn, illustrated elements, I've always found are a nice thing to have. A lot of the brands that I've worked with have stuff like this that it's more fun to incorporate tertiary logos and tertiary marks. When the old ones, when your main ones get a little bit stale, it's always good to kind of juice it up with a little bit of these extra marks. So cool. So we have this player here. Gonna go ahead and do our classic magic wand tool, kind of how we did in the last stream. Just gonna review the cutout really quick like we said before. And this one was interesting, obviously, because this original photo was taken on a blue background with some reflections in the face that were blue. And sometimes the cutout doesn't do the best job of making sure that it's separated, which is kind of hard, honestly, because his skin is blue there, the background's blue. So we're gonna clean that up a little bit. So I'm just gonna go ahead here and get my white brush, kind of fix that little part of our layer mask, just to make sure everything looks square here. Going to get that.
Dude, maybe you'll inspire an actual Bandits team to.
Yeah, I'd be down.
Nice.
I mean, if you guys are looking for a designer, hey, I'm always game for some new work.
There you go.
So we got this here. Let me fill this with black just to make sure, yeah, that cutout is crisp. Hair looks good. That's one of those things too, like, I'll always double check the hair to make sure that it looks fine, because depending on the image you use, obviously these were studio shots, so it's a lot more controlled, but if you're taking in-game photos or anything like that, the hair can be really frizzy. It can, be like kind of wild, so you'll have to go through and edit that yourself, but these all look pretty good. And then, yeah, I think everything looks nice here. So now we're good to start doing our camera raw. And so like we said before, that is 80% of the player treatment that we do is really done in camera raw. I think if you're an entry-level designer, it's such a great place to start and really kind of, hammer in on what we call that player treatment. So, we're gonna go here, camera raw. And so we want that gritty feel. And so, we said that the black and white player imagery is what we're wanting to go for. So there's a specific way to do it in Photoshop and specifically in camera raw. Some people will do this instead. They'll hit this, these adjustment layers, hit black and white, and they'll clip it on and they'll call it a day. And so for something like this, it looks fine for sure. It does feel pretty flat. So, if you're going to, I'm just gonna make this a smart object here, mess with some of the blend modes. Like it doesn't really look like gritty, and it's a hard thing to kind of describe. This type of effect, this hard light effect, is really neat, but we can elevate it by doing camera raw in a little bit different of a way that we can't do with this black and white adjustment layer. So that's kind of why we do camera raw instead of that adjustment layer. So to do that, we'll click this black and white, And this will kind of give us a little bit of a starting place. So this is what kind of came up stock when we did the adjustment layer. But you can actually have a little bit more of control when it comes to the lighting and the shadows from here. And it's always good to do this. And like we said before, the upping the shadows is always good because you kind of see more of the facial features and more of the expression, texture, and clarity. Like we said, you know, it's very much a huge part of this like gritty sort of vibe, and you know, without it you kind of lose a little bit of something. So for these, you know, I'll bump up a little bit higher than we did in the last stream just to get a little bit of that extra texture in here. These curves, these are interesting with black and white because if you kind of select this bottom left quadrant like circle and lift it up, it kind of mattes the blacks, which we kind of want to, because if you think about it, like you don't want anything to be like true black or true white. You kind of want things to feel faded, especially if our background is that off-white. We want our black to be, you know, that off black, I guess. So we're doing that here, and kind of just playing around with it, like we said last stream. Not an exact science. We're kind of just seeing what looks good, what feels good. We can adjust these here. Appreciate you guys tuning in. I'm super excited to do the part 2 here. Kind of you guys do some more graphics. Super excited for that.
Drop a couple yeehaws in the chat too to shout out Dallas.
I love it. Shout out to 214.
214.
So slept on. So slept on. And then adding in some sharpening here as well. You know, you kind of, here's before, here's after. I mean, you're getting like a lot of grit, a lot of grain. Sometimes you can go back and realize it's a little bit too much, and so you'll go back to camera raw and adjust it from here. But like we said, everything's a smart object. Everything is not destructive. So if we notice something later on, we can fix it now. So we will adjust that. So I can already see here the grit is showing up from our first photo to our second, which I already like. I'll go through and kind of just look at a different set of blend modes we have here. I think we said, let's see, darken. Darken looks pretty good.
Nice.
I think we said hard light was also a contender, but I think darken looks probably the best.
Yeah,
I think I would want a little bit more contrast in the face. So like I said, we'll go back here. And one thing with this this blend mode is that you can see the colors that are punched out. For example, right here, this is what showed up as true white before. So let me go here. So all this pure white under this darken blend mode disappears and basically turns into the color of the background. So to adjust this, if we want more white on the face, we'll go back into camera raw and we'll lighten up these white spots. So might up the exposure a little bit. Highlights, we'll bump them up. Shadows, we can bring them up a little bit. And so that should give us a little bit more white in the face. Nice. So I think both of them are good. I think we'll stick with this one. But yeah, that's kind of the thought process of making something you like in camera raw and then adjusting it after you have it. Cool. So we have our piece here and we want this to feel very branded, right? So we're going to make our player a little bit bigger. And also one of these things in doing these 3 pieces is making sure that clients are given different options. So we have one option with like, you know, a player image where, you know, it's a full body, it's an action photo, it's something that, you know, otherwise would be like an in-game shot. And then we have something here that is studio, it's gritty, it's more of a torso up type of shot. So as someone who is asking for these pieces of work, if I was to put my mind into my client's mind, I would be like, okay, well, I want as many options as possible. I want to try different photos, I want to mix and match styles. This is sort of how we do it. And this is, as a designer, what I think about as I'm building out these graphic sets over the course of, you know, a week or a couple days. As many options as you can, you know, get to them as possible, I think helps you land on a stronger product. So this is kind of more of the thought behind the actual format of this piece. So I'm gonna increase the size here. And then, cool. So I'm now gonna try to find some different ways to incorporate some branded elements. So we have our libraries here, which we said before was like a godsend. I love it and I use it all the time. Especially when you're really in that design flow state, it's always good to have these, you know, limiting how many times you're moving from a different application to Photoshop and then back and forth. It can get pretty overwhelming, pretty exhausting, especially when you're designing for hours. I'm seeing some loving the texture and clarity. I love that. Yeah, I'm a huge fan of it. Always a big part of my pieces. So this is like a little bit of a secondary mark that I had made. It might fit the piece, it might not. I'm trying to think of where would be best suited to fit these brand marks. So normally when I'll work with something like this, I'll try to either put it in the nook between his shoulder and his neck, because this kind of has like a natural curvature to it, like a natural pocket of space that you can kind of put in some elements. So here is always a good option. Here is always good. This is also an interesting point too, because you have the player looking to the right. And so, kind of like this leading lines, like guiding your view sort of situation. If he's leaning right, your eyes naturally follow from left to right. So having the brand mark here on the right side also makes sense too. So you can justify either way. A client's going to ask you sometimes, why is it on this side? Why is it on that side? You can make up whatever, but those are the two things that I sort of think about whenever I'm orienting these different elements. Nice. But I think I'll keep it on this side here. And then we're going to try to do a little bit of, we're going to be using some different brushes today. So all of these brushes that I'm going to be using were taken from Adobe. So this is something that was free source. I think we can find a way to link it. I'm not exactly sure where I had them before. They've been on my computer for a long time. But really using them as a way to add a little bit of that grit texture, that paintbrush splatter sort of thing. Those kind of all work together and stuff like this. So we have a bunch of these brushes here.
Nice.
Let's see, we got like some paint splatter. And shout out one of my coworkers, Pat O'Reilly. He's the one who found all these and gave them to us and the team. And I use these all the time. I think these are super neat. Finding good brushes is super hard to come across. So anytime I can find a way to get those in the workflow, I'm always down.
Thank you, Pat.
Yeah, shout out Pat. But yeah, we have this layer mask that we had. I have the brush selected. I've got the color black selected here. And yeah, basically just painting in these paint splatters. We'll mix in some different ones just to kind of add some variety, so it doesn't all feel like it's the same brush. Getting some there. It also leaves us some room to add some different elements later, some different branding elements to use at the bottom part of our graphic. So I'm gonna try to keep this sort of effect, almost like he's coming out from the background into the foreground. Quick way to do that is with these little brushes. So always
so good, dude.
Yeah. And so now we have our player cut out, but we also want to find different ways to incorporate our branding and our visual identity with this black and white photo. You might be saying, how are we going to get colors in this if we want the backgrounds to, or the logos and all the other elements to stand out? Well, there's this neat sort of thing that I like to kind of do in my graphics, or always experiment with, is the different blend modes. So kind of over the course of the stream, we've talked about the difference blend mode, or not the difference blend mode. We've talked about the darken blend mode, overlay as a blend mode, but the difference blend mode is one of those wildcard ones that I think is always neat to experiment with. So I'll take out the camera raw here, and this was our regular player image right here. So what I'll do is I'll actually look at the difference blend mode. So we get some weird pops of color in here, and I think there could be a way to kind of liven it up and get them more aligned to our brand's tertiary colors, which was this turquoise situation here and this red and orange situation here. So I might go to camera raw real quick. I might refresh the camera raw here to make it feel more lively, because we started with this colored photo and just do a quick little treatment on it, just to make sure that we're getting all the orange to pop as much as possible, because that'll yield better colors when we're messing with this post. So we're just pumping up all these colors, and this is not going to appear as it is. I'm really boosting it. This is not something that I would send to a client and be okay, this is super saturated color treatment.
Right.
But we're gonna go forward here, and so. Let's see, here's what it was before, after. It kind of brightens the colors up a little bit. Going to mask this onto our black and white photo, and going to, what else are we gonna do? We're going to try to find a subtle way to incorporate it. So I see he's grabbing the jersey, and so you can kind of see the ripples will extend almost in a radial pattern. So I'm gonna try to see what this sort of almost sunburst sort of effect would look like going across these the different parts of the jersey here.
And that's just with the pen tool.
Just with the pen tool, it was just rough, right? We're trying to keep it quick. You know, the client, you know, if you saw the brief, if you guys tuning in saw the brief, they wanted an end of day. So, you know, 3 different options at a day. You know, time is of the essence. We're trying to get through this, right? So I'm going to put it here. So I'm gonna add one more here just to fill out the entire jersey. Go add in some white. So yeah, so he's kind of holding the jersey. It's a way to kind of incorporate colors. Now these aren't exactly our brand colors yet, so we're going to go in and add a little bit of a selective color. I'm actually going to duplicate this. I'm gonna do like a little bit of a Photoshop hack here. I'm gonna do a smart object. I'm going to select pixels, and then this will be our, it'll kind of just encapsulate that specific space as opposed to the whole player cutout.
So you just took the clipping mask, right? Or not the clipping mask, what is it called?
The layer,
The layer.
The adjustment layer?
The adjustment layer,
Yeah.
and you doubled it.
I doubled it, I made it a smart object.
Gotcha.
And then just so I could select that specific portion. Because when you're dealing with a lot of layer masks and clipping masks and stuff like that, it gets really kind of annoying, and you know, it's kind of, it gets really complicated after a certain point, but we're trying to keep it simple here. So I'm double clicking here, select pixels, right? So it selects our like inverted difference adjustment layer here. I'm going to delete this layer mask and then add it into here. So now this color, like this selective color, is now attached directly to these inverted difference type
Lines,
of lines. So now we can go through and get them closer to our brand colors. Here, let me see if that's going to work. So we're lining them up, trying to get that tertiary, more cyan color here. Gonna touch the blue as well. And let's see. Yeah, so now we're starting to get closer to our colors. Cool, so this looks good to me. I'm gonna continue on here. And we said branded, right? So branded doesn't just mean a bunch of logos. It also means our city that we're working with, and obviously it's Dallas. So we're gonna find a way to include this as well into our graphic. So I'm just going to make this a quick layer, just do layer, and then background, just to stay organized. And we are slowly getting there. But it's also a good thing just to always stay organized. You know, there's not too many layers in here, but you know, for my more advanced designers, you know, we'll have, 80, 90, 100 layers into our graphics, and you know, it gets really complicated. And I'm the biggest culprit of like the most unorganized files. So trying to, be crossing my T's, dotting my I's here as we're working on stream.
Let's go.
I'm gonna do our foreground elements. Cool. And so let me also add in, I think I have our city image here. Let us see. Yeah, city imagery. Nice. Look at that. Drag and drop. So we also want this city to have sort of the same effect as our player, like this gritty type of feel, but we don't want it to be too overwhelming. So I'm going to go ahead and look at our player here. I'm just gonna take the camera raw that we'd already done with this and then add it on top of our city layer. So that's what these two overlapping dots are gonna be. These are like our smart filters. So if I shut off the smart filter, it takes off everything that we did in camera raw. So if we want to add it to another layer and still keep it on the layer that we're pulling it from, you kind of grab it. You press Option, you grab it, and then our city image is back here. So I'll drop it on here. So now we have the same effect that we put on the player, but now in the cityscape. So want to also mess with the blend modes here as well. So darken, I think, was an awesome type of look. Might experiment with some new ones, but with this, remember we had our player have a blend mode. And so when the player has a blend mode, anything that appears behind him will kind of still like come through him, and we don't want that. So the way to kind of get around that is by doing what we did before with his little jersey striations. We'll 2-finger click the player photo, hit select pixels. We'll go to our cityscape image, and then we'll hit our layer mask. And so it's clipped inside of him. What we'll do is Command I now, and then now it appears outside of him. So we're gonna kind of see what other ways we can make this look a little bit more integrated into our photo. Gonna kind of use a splatter brush to take out the stuff appearing to the other side of him. Going to use it as a way to mask out a little bit of that sky, and then a little bit of this background here.
Bro, this is already looking amazing.
So yeah, so I'm already starting to like it a lot. I think it's one of those really neat types of graphics to be working on. You're using a lot of different types of tools, not the ones you usually use in Photoshop, but I think the point of these streams is really to get acclimated in using different tools and maybe using things that you wouldn't normally use, because I mean, I've only found out how to use these tools through watching other people use them. So I think I like this style. I'm gonna try to do one more thing. I'll hit a Command L. And so what this will do is it'll help you adjust the darkness and the lightness of the image that you're actually working with. So right now we're working with the cityscape. And so it's probably easier visualized than explained. But you'll use this as a slider to add a little bit more intensity to the colors. So as I'm lifting this up, the whites of the original image are going up. The background is fading. So I'm gonna lift it all the way, and you can see like the background like almost fully disappears, which is pretty cool.
Nice.
And so it kind of has that gritty feel as well. And this is kind of like a dealer's choice of an effect. It's just kind of a slider that you kind of mess around with. I really like messing with it, but yeah, basically the levels adjustment layer adjusts the light and the darkness of an image. So that's how you do that there.
Nice. We got a question here.
Yeah.
Hey OK asks, when doing work like this, when in the process, would you send a client a progress check?
Yeah, I always try to do that when I can. I think it's like we said before, being transparent with your client is, I think, one of the biggest feathers in your hat that doesn't involve a design skill. One of the ways to feel like you're delivering premium work is by making sure that you are delivering a premium service, which exists outside of just what exists in Photoshop. Mm-hmm. So if you're able to kind of keep them up to date, send emails, progress checks, it gives them a peace of mind that is pretty invaluable. And I found a lot of people will come back just because they have a really good relationship with you and your cadence and your workflow. So I try to update as much as I can. Nobody likes to be left in the dark is what we've been saying over the past couple of days. But yeah, that's kind of a big part of this whole process.
W.
Yeah. Cool. So I'm liking this here. I know we have another graphic to get to, so I'm going to try to add a little bit more of these elements and maybe a little bit of grit. I know we talked about grit and texture, so I actually have some in my Finder here in this texture sort of situation. So I might pull this one. You can't really see them here off the Finder preview, but I promise you there's some texture there.
Nice. Some sprinkled on there.
Yeah. So I'm going to put it in the background, and I'm just going to mess with a little bit of the layers here. So right now it's appearing white. What I want to do is actually make the sort of dust particles feel darker and black. So I'm just going to invert that, Command I, like my favorite tool. I use it all the time. But yeah, so basically we're just going to be looking at different blend modes. The multiply looks good. You're kind of seeing it appear on the edges here. So it kind of feels like it's one of those like Western flyers, like Wanted, like Dead or Alive type of posters. So cool. So we're having that there, which I like. And then we also have some halftones too, which are always a great add. A lot of these things, like I didn't really know what the names of them were. Like halftone, like, I think the first time I was like learning what a halftone was, I thought it was like what's the effect they do in comic books? I think I put it in Google, and then eventually I found out. But yeah, I think part of the design journey is just kind of verbalizing, the effects that you're seeing, which it's its own difficulty. Sure. But we're adding in some more texture here to kind of feel a little bit more like that like texture type of vibe. I've been saying texture too much, but honestly it's hard to find another word. I think it might just be texture. I'm gonna paint a little bit of these out, kind of not make it too overwhelming. I'll do Command J, duplicate it, and then I'll probably rotate it around to fit the bottom right hand corner of our graphic to make sure we're not losing sight of the aesthetic.
Dude, this is looking good.
I love it.
Getting me pumped.
Love it.
Join the team.
Yeah, dude, I'm down.
Winter tryouts.
I mean, shoot, they were yesterday, man.
Oh,
sorry.
Sorry. Any exceptions?
I think so. We can make an exception. I mean, with the stats that you had in your card, man, 150 goals.
There you go. 5 assists.
It's no joke. We don't need to be a team player with this. He's a goal scorer. Chaos in the box.
Chaos in the box. Shout out M. All right. Hey, OK wants to know, would updates include pictures of where you're at in the work?
I mean, it wouldn't be like a selfie. Like, I wouldn't like take a little selfie of like, yo, what's up? I'm here with your project, making sure it's getting done. But it would be normally just a quick export, just to make sure they know what I'm up to, what I'm doing. A lot of the times Revisions are pretty quick, so sometimes if someone wants the player cutout to be a little bit smaller, or they want the shadows to feel more realistic, they're pretty easy to do. So I try to be pretty quick on the ball when it comes to dealing with clients like that. But yeah, hopefully that answers your question. But yeah, I'm really liking what we got going on here. I know we have that other one to be doing, so I'm gonna leave this here. But this kind of roughly gets that idea of this grid and these different effects. I'll throw in a few more brand tags just to take it over the top. We actually did mention these little tertiary design elements here, so I might add a few of them
why not?
Just to see, just to fill up that space. Why not? And then we actually have this cool little rattlesnake situation here.
Snake.
Yeah, I might use that as a little bit of a framing device here, just to kind of fill out a little bit more of that space without feeling too overwhelming. Let's maybe rotate it a little bit, and let's see. Yeah, I'm liking where this is at.
This is looking great.
Yeah, I think last thing I would do is, I did say that we're trying to find different ways to incorporate our brand elements. So, this flat black we're trying to avoid. An easy fix for this, these are all our foreground elements. An easy fix for this will be taking a color fill layer, so kind of how we did with the background. So we'll just do church up fill here, solid color. We'll then select our darker sort of navy situation, and then again, blend modes. They're a lifesaver, so I'm gonna be going through them, and then there should be one that kind of clips into the darker parts of our player and our black elements and makes them like off black navy sort of look. So it should be this one. I think it should be lighten or screen. I think lighten. So if I toggle it on and off, you can kind of see it adjusts it very, very marginally, but it does kind of give it a little bit more of that faded black look. So cool. This is something that I would obviously love more time with, but we have that other graphic to get to. But this kind of gives a rough idea of like that second type of design style that is definitely different from our first. So the point, like we said, is to have as many options as possible, give them to a client, have them choose which direction to explore further, and then from there we can get to our more established design direction that we would then use for all of our social graphics, all of our print graphics, out of home, you name it, we would do it. This would sort of be the cadence of that sort of work.
So good, dude.
Yeah, love it. Cool. So moving on to this third design, and so just want to refer back to our brief, because this is the holy grail. Like if you start deviating from the brief, you start doing stuff that maybe Jorge the designer would like to do, as opposed to doing what the client is actually asking for.
Right.
So we're wanting bold, experimental, unconventional, and then we have trippy question mark. So trippy question mark is kind of that's interesting. I'm thinking, okay, well, trippy. How do we find different ways to incorporate that with what we already have? So for our inspiration, I kind of pulled these sort of like water effects, like chromatic aberrations. I think it's a really neat sort of situation. A little bit, I guess, trippy is what I would say, but definitely more experimental than the first two. The first two are pretty much tried and true design styles, where you have something very sleek, something very textured and layered and collagey sort of, and then now you're kind of dipping into that third, more like we trust your vision type of green light. You'll get that a lot sometimes. Like we don't know exactly what we want, but we trust you. You got it. And as a designer, that's like good and bad, because you don't want to spend a whole lot of time on something that will eventually get shot down. So wanting to try to keep it still within the constraints of our brief, so it's not too far out there where you would have to restart. So that'll be kind of the thought process behind this second piece.
I also like that you put the question mark for the trippy, because that's such a client thing to
do.
To be like, I don't know if this is what I need.
Yeah, I don't know how to describe it, but you know what? Trust your vision. You got it.
Exactly.
We're paying you to make something trippy, so we trust you. So like we said, kind of our third pass at doing this is figuring out what photos we're wanting to use. Obviously, we had something that was full body. We had something that was torso up. And now I'm thinking a more tightly cropped type of photo. So it looks a little bit more like editorial style, but then also try to incorporate some trippy elements into it. So I'm looking here. I think I like all these. This feels very like I'm a supermodel, like and like I think that we haven't kind of showcased that theme through the first two graphics. I think this would be a good place to insert it now. Nice. So I'm gonna go ahead and grab this photo, and I'm gonna just like bump it up a lot,
all the way,
and then Yeah. Also, for whatever reason, Photoshop does a weird thing when you make things really, really big. It'll hop out of the artboard if you're using artboards, which is kind of funky. But kind of the quick way to fix that is this little. I don't really know what the feature's name is. Do you know what this is?
No idea.
I've got no idea. But it looks like prevent auto nesting.
Oh.
So and so, blah blah blah. But yeah, I click actually the artboard layer. I'll click that, and so now no matter how big it gets, it won't bump out of the actual artboard set, which is kind of strange, but kind of have to do it. The quick selection has been great for us so far this stream, so let's try it again. See if we can go 3 for 3.
3 for 3.
And yeah, it looks good. I mean, a little bit of an issue here on the corner. Again, something that we go through and fix with a little bit more time. But we're gonna go ahead and just run with this. So the way I'm seeing this is, kind of want to leave room for a little bit of a brand tag or a little bit of a designed logo, right? Because sometimes when I look at these graphics, I try to think of where they're going to show up. So, for example, if you're driving down a street and you look at street lights and street lamps, you'll see sometimes they'll have very branded types of visual pieces to kind of showcase like the team in the area or a team that's playing. I kind of like to think of these as very similar to that. Something that would maybe be repeatable, but still unique in its identity. So we already had our full body shot, we had our torso up, and now we're having a really tightly cropped shot. So that's where kind of the origin of this piece kind of comes into play. And so with this trippy feel, we already kind of did the more like 2D flat look. We did something that was a little bit halfway in between like 2D flat and a little bit more 3D with those gradients being sort of dynamic. But we're going to try to add in some 3D elements. So off camera, I had made some 3D elements, and these are things I had made actually in Adobe Dimension, which is a super slept on program and doesn't really get a lot of face time. But yeah, it's super cool. So I have the 3D question mark here to kind of keep up with the theme. So I made these in Adobe Dimension. They kind of look sort of funky, but I think we can get a really cool trippy effect using these. And clients also just love 3D. Something about it. It's like man, a lot of people can visualize the 2D stuff. They see collages, they see magazines, they see like a lot of these 2D graphics throughout their day-to-day and when they're bringing in inspiration. So it loses a little bit of its novelty, but then once you start incorporating 3D elements, which I've been trying to do more and more in my client work, people really get a kick out of it. And that's not something that people can really conceptualize as easily as the other two options where you see it more frequently. So adding that in is also like another, feather in the cap of this person knows how to do 3D. This is really cool. And I don't know how to do 3D all that much. This is Adobe Dimension. For me, it's very basic. I keep it very, very basic with the type of work that I do with these. There's some people that are incredible, but this is where we're starting for now.
Cool. I didn't even know about Adobe Dimension, so.
Dude, it's low-key a game changer. I started using it for, once I started my Instagram page, I was kind of making more like flat designs, and then I think I threw in a few different glass rings into a design that I was making, and that design blew up more than any other graphic I had made at that point. So I was like, okay, I gotta lean into this, learn the software a little bit, and I'm always for it. Yeah. And so another thing with this is our third option. So this is our out there option. So we'd already had done stuff with our flat white. We'd already done stuff with our primary red and orange. We kind of want to try to experiment maybe with our tertiary colors here. So we have a lot of cyan that we want to get to here as well. So I'm going to add another fill layer. Set the scene for that. Oops, wrong layer.
Got a good question for the business side of design.
For sure.
Kane from Behance wants to know, when pricing projects like these for everyday clients, do you typically charge based on the number of hours you put into the project, or do you prefer to charge a flat rate per design?
Yeah, that's a great question. I think it definitely depends on the type of client you're working with and depends on the scope. I think for some things a day rate is always a good thing to do, especially when you know how long things roughly take you. I would not really charge a day rate for something that's more exploratory because, I like to sit in Photoshop I wouldn't like to do an hourly rate for something that's exploratory because I like to sit in Photoshop, kind of source different images and backgrounds for hours and hours and hours, days and days and days. And it feels a little bit disingenuous to bill a client for, your own rabbit hole that you're choosing to go down. So for that type of stuff, I'll do a flat rate or a day rate for an exploration, and then normally I'll do a flat rate per project. And I think after that, if we're doing revisions, obviously there's things we can't really account for. Sometimes I just do the revisions for free. Sometimes they're my fault, and it makes sense for me to go back and change it. It doesn't make sense to charge a client for that because that's on me. But then there's some things that are a little bit more out there that wasn't budgeted for, not accounted for, that you have to adjust for. And then in that case, I might do a little bit of an hourly. But it definitely depends. It depends on your relationship with your client, but I think we've said this, so many times throughout this stream today and yesterday, being transparent from the jump, I think it's the most important part, right? Because if you are upfront with the client, like, hey, listen, these are my rates, this is what I charge, I do expect some level of changes to be made throughout us working together. At a certain point, I will have to start charging for those. So they don't feel blindsided whenever you're like, okay, my rates for these are, X, Y, and Z, and, they're not caught off guard. Because then it just feels like, if they're looped in, it's like, okay, we all know what we're getting ourselves into. Nothing's a surprise here. I think clients appreciate that level of transparency up front. So that's always a good thing to consider.
Yes.
So I already have these. I'm just going to try to invert them a little bit because I want a little bit more white in our graphic. And we're just going to be messing around and just seeing what we can do here. Whenever I think of Trippy, I think of a lot of like liquify, the liquify effect. I'll make these all smart objects. So let's just take a look here.
I was just messing with the liquify. I'd never used it before.
It's
so
crazy.
Yeah, that's crazy.
And so when I'm thinking of like Trippy, like,
Okay, there you go.
you might be thinking like, dude, like, what are we doing here? I'm telling you, there's a vision. We're gonna get to the bottom of it here. But yeah, it gets a little bit trippy, whatever. But this sort of really warped effect is really kind of interesting. You guys will kind of see it here. And then using, I'm making this a smart object here. Kind of rotate it around, and then using like what we said before, our different blend modes, we can kind of get really, really neat effects here. So we're already kind of having this like sort of wavy, melty sort of effect kind of coming into frame, and then we're gonna try to do the same thing here. Actually, for time, we'll just duplicate this, and then flip it, and then call it a day on this.
I'm excited for this.
Yeah, no, I'm stoked. I think this will be neat. And clients always appreciate, something new, something they haven't seen before.
Yeah.
And remember, we're trying to find different ways to include our design elements here. So we're going to try to make sure that we include a logo or one of our main marks here in this spot. But like we haven't done before in this graphic, but what we've been doing in the other ones has been the camera raw. So camera raw, we're going to hit a little bit of a quick pass on treatment here, and then we can see. So for these, we also want the player to be the highlight, right? It's more of that like editorial, sort of like, magazine layout like sort of style. So you want the player to still be the hero. So for that, we'll up the exposure, like we said before, and just find different ways to make him stand out. And we want to make sure that we're going to make use of kind of that like that key light that's coming in on his on like the observer's right-hand side. So we're gonna try to find ways to make that pop as well.
What do you say is like help or suggestions for people who want to start doing stuff like this, but don't know yet how to like have the eye to be like, this is the right lighting? You know what I'm saying? Is it just like looking at a bunch of magazines or? Yeah,
I would say, a lot of brands do a really great job. I'm not sure if I'm able to like list them all, but I mean, it's kind of no secret that Nike is, their ads are extremely well done. And I think for like the longest time, like, their work has been, heavily referenced across, so many different mediums. Just the fonts alone have been, used everywhere. But I think they do a really great job. Like they mix up, and a lot of other brands do a great job mixing up these really great shots that are done in a photo shoot, but then also still incorporate design elements, but do a really good job towing the line without either side seeming too much of the focus. So the player's not, like the craziest focus, not super heavily treated. It's subtle, but then the design background is also not overwhelming, but they coexist really well. So I would say, think of all the brands that you like. I mean, there's, what we talk about developing a design style. A big part of that is, what you like, things that you're interested in, and taking different elements of that, mixing, matching, remixing into your own work. So for me, a lot of the designers like I had referenced in the past stream, like Jamal Clay, Tony Nguyen, for a team in the NBA. These are guys that like have incredible work, like Night Design, another one who does like incredible lighting work and does a lot of stuff with gradient maps, has a bunch of tutorials out there. He's done stuff with Adobe, so I would reference some of those people because they just have a really good sense of design, a really good eye. And sometimes watching a few tutorials is always really helpful. And hopefully stuff like this kind of gives you a little bit more of an insight on, what I look for when I'm taking a raw image and trying to incorporate it into a graphic. So that's kind of sort of how I've developed a little bit of an eye is, people are always better at this craft than you. I mean, there's so many designers out there that, I look up to, idolize. I'm like, dude, like I want to know how to make that. And sometimes, you'll reach out and people will be like super open and really excited to answer, which I always try to be like that because that's how I learned what I do. And then there's some people that are a little bit closed off, but there's always people that, are out there that want to help. I think that's the biggest thing. And I think I love that about the design community. It's awesome.
Yes.
But yeah, trying to do a little bit more treatment here, upping the texture, clarity.
To add to that, I heard this quote recently, which has probably been a quote for a long time, but I was like, that's good. It's you don't have to be great to start, but you have to start to be great. So
I love that.
If you're trying to learn this, the Photoshop world is very new to me, to be honest. I do a lot of like typographical work.
Right.
So like learning all the layers and stuff is still like new.
Well, and that type of work is really difficult for me to conceptualize because, I started like, self-taught, like making graphics on my phone and stuff like that. And, it's not really like an orthodox way of doing it. I mean, it's not really something they teach in design school, I don't think. It's kind of just like, if you like it, you learn how to make it.
Right.
But more of that like formatted, like visual hierarchy type of stuff, like I'm trying to learn that now. And so I think everyone starts on like different scales and everyone has different, different confidences in their different skill sets. So, that's one of the great things about working, in-house with other designers is like, a lot of them are so much better at different things than you and learning that is always great.
Good.
So
yeah,
it's awesome. So here I'm throwing on a gradient map here, trying to incorporate these colors again. So we have a little bit of that darker vibe, a little bit of a darker feel. Still trying to find ways to incorporate that tertiary color. So I'm going to go here and then do like a little bit of a hue adjustment. So that'll be here. We had a question in the last stream about, if we want to make use of this little key light, but want to change the color of it, how do we do that? And I think this hue saturation ends up being really helpful for that. So I'm going to try to adjust it a little bit here to kind of fit more of that tertiary color. Nice. And then I'm also going to do the same thing on actually, I wonder if we can just loop both of them in. Yeah, so it changes the color a little bit here. It changes like the majority of the skin, so I don't really like that. So I might just keep it for the background for now. I'll Command-J, duplicate, and then I'll clip it onto our player. And then I'll just kind of mask out where I don't want, because it like heavily changes skin to like be more pink than orange, and we don't want that. But we do like the color that's coming up on the side of his face. So I'm gonna take a little bit of a brush. I'll take a regular brush now, soft brush, and just kind of paint that.
There you go.
Paint that out.
And for those who are just tuning in, we are here with Jorge, and he is making a third poster.
That's right.
And he's been going through some client briefs. This one, the client is asking for the project to be a bit more trippy, a bit more, what words did he use?
Out there, crazy.
Yeah.
Let's take a peek here. Always good to reference it back. So bold, experimental, and trippy was the client ask.
So what he did is he took some 3D models or 3D things that he made in
Adobe Dimension.
Adobe Dimension,
yeah.
New program that I'm learning about. That's awesome. And he brought them in, used the liquify tool, and that's how you see it's like all this squiggly thing.
Yeah.
It's just like a cool texture. And so I'm already getting the trippy vibes.
For sure.
From the jump.
And it might be too much, and this is one of those things where a client would be like, "Yo, like pipe down, like we're not trying to do all that." and then after that, you'd be like, "Well, at least I tried, and we can see what's out there," and just kind of showing like really quick what this sort of looks like. We got the trippy part in the background, trippy part in the foreground. Why not just try something new? And I think this is always people really do appreciate you going kind of out there and experimenting with new things. Because some people, maybe would love it, some people would hate it, but maybe that's a good thing because, people are having, really distinct reactions to it. You're probably doing something right. And I think that's a big part of marketing and branding is you want to catch people's attention. Maybe my client would be like, this is awesome. And then we can run with it. But I want to make sure that I'm able to throw in some of our brand marks in here as well.
Oh, the perfect space.
Yeah.
Look
See,
at that.
you're just trying to create pockets of space, try to add some, add your branding elements in here. I'm gonna try to, what else could we add here that would spice it up? I do like the idea of almost like this trippy effect, sort of being like, sort of like glass. So what I'll do here is, if you look, I did a little bit of a blending mode situation here. I combined all the layers from the background into one smart object. I duplicated it and brought it on top. I then hit it with a screen adjustment, which basically just isolates all the bright colors. So I'll hit screen again, and then you can see the player underneath. So in an instance like this, what I'd probably do is I'd make this a smart object. I duplicate it, and then I would kind of make it like blurry so that it appears like the thing that's coming over him is masking him and making it look a little bit like there's a piece of glass that's coming over him. So going to go here, try some Gaussian blur, and then kind of up that a little bit here. I'll then invert the mask, and then I'll kind of just slowly paint over where his jersey is, just so it feels like a little bit more layered, a little bit more 3D.
There you go.
Just to make it feel like, you know, we're going a little bit above and beyond for.
Oh, for sure. This
for our
is like,
clients.
I feel like this is one of those things that, you know, a casual designer to like the next level designer, it's like these little details.
Yeah, it's always cool finding different ways to kind of insert your like design sense, and you know, these are all things that I've learned over, you know, the past couple of years. I'm gonna hit this graphic with a quick little pass of that rim light. Just want to make it feel like a little bit more cinematic. Obviously, you know, hitting 3 graphics in one day is pretty like difficult. Obviously, for 3 graphics for a client with me, normally I'll probably take a week to get that back to them. I want to make sure that I'm hitting, you know, everything. I want to make sure that like lighting looks very keyed in. But the point of the stream was more to focus on how do you structure your work so that you're keeping your client informed and you're giving them enough options to choose from. You know, it's just one of those things that people really do appreciate you taking the time to figure out how you're going to be displaying this information at a professional level. You know, in the NFL, when I'm working, you know, we're always coming up with different options. You know, everyone pitches in different graphic ideas for different things, just because it's you know, everyone that we're servicing has different tastes, have different things that they think that we could build off of. You know, in our podcast yesterday, we talked about, you know, servicing video, servicing social, servicing like our design people. So, you know, everyone has different uses for different design elements. So trying to figure out all these different ways to communicate visually and help make their jobs easier and help them see the vision is just as much a part of our work as actually creating the graphics. So it's always a good thing to keep in mind. So really just thinking of the thought process of building out graphic sets and presenting them to a client, I think is the goal.
So good, dude. So good.
Yeah, so do a little bit of a rim light here.
Yeah, I'd say a cool skill, or not a cool, I'll say an important skill to start developing is being able to explain your design to a client too.
Yeah.
One of the things Emily has shared with me over time too is sometimes the client, it's not that they don't like your design, they just need a bit more explanation.
Sure.
And so you got to trust like your instinct to be like, no, I think this is actually the answer, but it's like how you pose it to your client,
Sure.
how you lead them through it, which could be kind of like a hard thing to do sometimes
Sure.
too.
Well, and they're more times than not, I mean, they're coming to you for a different level of insight that they don't already have themselves.
Mm-hmm.
And so depending on our skill set and depending on how many clients you've worked with, who you've worked with, you've solved your own set of design problems for different people. So having a little bit of confidence in saying, you know, well, you don't have to name drop your client, but, you know, in the past, I've seen this issue before. You know, I've found that X, Y, and Z is really helpful in kind of solving that. And I know that your problem is very similar. I think that the solutions could be mapped on together. It doesn't have to be the exact same. It could be a little bit more tailored, but I think it's a good place to start with that context that you already have with working with people. And if you haven't worked with anyone before, just, I'm not saying make it up, but, you know, you have your own design eye. There's a reason why you chose this as a career. Lean into, you know, your understanding of the principles of what you've learned, whether, you know, on YouTube University or in design school, whatever it may be. You have a specific set of insight that I think is important to make sure we lean into in stuff like this. So always good to keep in mind. But yeah, a little bit of a rim light here. I'm gonna Command J, and then I'll clip it on here as well. Another thing that I like to do is I'll take another blur, Gaussian blur, and I'll really kind of blow it up. I'll take our tertiary color here, which is the cyan. I'll color overlay, and I'll clip it. It's already there. and then I will make another smart object. I know it's kind of getting layered, confusing, but we're vibing with it. We're going through with it.
Doing great.
But then we'll also kind of look at more like adjustment layers. So you'll get more of that like glowy effect on here. Always good to kind of add a little bit more to it. We don't want him to feel very like Avatar, type of deal. We don't want him to be like a blue person, but it's like a subtle way to kind of add a little bit more light into your piece as well. I think we're coming up on time.
Yeah.
But
looking so good.
Yeah.
Yeah. So just to recap, look at these 3 amazing posters. So Jorge went through 3 different briefs today. One clean, one kind of like grainy, textured, and then trippy, as you can see here. And bro, you bodied it.
Hey, I appreciate it. I hope that it kind of covered a little bit of the scope of what you would typically deal with the client. I love talking about this stuff. I love designing this stuff. Doing it for you guys has been super cool. I've really appreciated you guys hopping on the 2 streams today, and hopefully you guys learned something a little bit new. So super stoked to have worked with you guys, and great host here. Love it. Absolutely love it.
Yeah, thanks for tuning in. We have MagDL coming on later after this, so stay tuned for that. But we are so happy that you were here today. Come back next week, and we'll see you real soon.
Love it.
Bye.
Bye y'all.